4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Can I interest you in a little 37 degrees at kickoff, winds gusting, rain, 91% chance of precipitation, Perloff football weather? That's what I'm talking about. Cleveland Browns hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Browns are 2-8, so this season is completely off the rails. Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat. Steelers 8-2.
No, you can't interest me. This is the worst game of the year.
Oh, come on. Football weather, dude.
Single worst game of the year. The Browns are beyond unwatchable. And the Steelers are the least watchable 8-2 team. They're going to just run, throw a bomb to George Pickens, run. But they are interesting teams, big picture. This game is going to stink. This is going to be...
This could be fun. Chris Boswell can't kick 5 field goals to win the game when you have these kind of wins coming off Lake Erie.
We're talking about Al Michaels' order at a restaurant by the second quarter, Maggie. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing fun about this game. The Browns are just a joke. Yeah. But the Steelers even... I want to talk about the Steelers for a second. They're 8-2. And last week on the show, you said you believe they're a bona fide Super Bowl contender.
I do.
Tell me what is different about this Steelers team than the Steelers team we've seen for the last 8 years that has made the playoffs but flamed out. I feel like they're the same version of the Steelers, and I'm not sure what the win is that I see this year that makes me think they're any different than last year's team, the team before that, the team before that, or the team before that.
Listen, I might not be able... They just beat the Ravens. I mean, if you want like a signature win, but they do that a lot, so yeah. I get it. But here's why I think that the Steelers are a bona fide Super Bowl contender. This is a team whose defense is definitely good enough to win you a Super Bowl. You will agree with me there. And I can give you every metric under the sun of their top 5, top 2, top everything. I could stat you to death. Or you could just watch the games, and you can see that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a Super Bowl quality defense.
Yeah, did last year too.
Okay, so what about the offense? Well, I would say that Russell Wilson, so far in limited action, his connection with George Pickens is already better than any quarterback has had with George Pickens. His targets and receptions are almost double what they were with any other quarterback. So you've unlocked a weapon that is a legitimate weapon. Your running game is one of the top running games in the league, okay? You've got 2 rookies on your offensive line. So do you think they're going to get better or are they going to get worse? They're going to get better as the season goes on and as they get more experience. And you have 2 viable options, but obviously Russell Wilson's the starter, no doubt. And then here's my number 1 reason why I think the Steelers can turn themselves into a Super Bowl contender on offense. Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator for the Steelers, Pearl, when he was with the Tennessee Titans, he actually presided over the number 1 and number 2 ranked red zone offenses in Tennessee. Okay, they have Derrick Henry. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
but,
guess who's the number 1 red zone offense in the league right now? Baltimore with Derrick Henry.
Okay, but you have a great running game in Pittsburgh, okay? The more they figured out the red zone woes, and I believe they can figure those out, I don't think Russell Wilson is going to be 30% in the red zone for the rest of the season. I think they're still workshopping things to the point where they're going to start peaking at the right time. And I do think they're going to start working Justin Fields into these short yardage packages and into the red zone. There's more to this offense than what we've seen. Stout defense, more to the offense. That is why they are Super Bowl contender.
I didn't hear an answer.
That is the answer.
So make it succinct. What is different about this team?
The offense has not reached their ceiling yet. The defense is already there.
So is it Russell? So you're saying Russell Wilson?
The combination, Wilson unlocking Pickens, having a good run game. I told you the offensive line is stout.
They have same running backs, same run game.
Yeah.
Basically kind of the same offensive line. I just think they're the same.
They have 2 new pieces. This is a good offensive line.
Yeah. I don't. You have to take a stand. I think you want to say Wilson. Say Wilson.
Wilson unlocking Pickett.
Yeah.
And listen, did Russell Wilson throw a bad interception last week? Of course. Yes, he did. He's not going to be a perfect quarterback, but he's better than what we saw in Denver.
Yeah,
it's somewhere in between Seattle and Denver. He's not washed. We thought he may have been. In fact, you actually always stood up for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I like Russ. But here's the thing. I just think that they're the 20th ranked offense. They just feel exactly the same as the teams that we've seen in the last run.
Wilson is better than Pickett and Mason Rudolph.
He
definitely is.
Well, who was even the end of the Big Benny or Big Ben's numbers were fine. Like I just think that there's something about that team. They're just not elite. Like part of it is if they were in the NFC, then we might have a conversation. But I can't see them winning a playoff game against Kansas City, Buffalo, and honestly, I don't think they're going to beat Baltimore 3 times. They'll probably beat them again. So I just don't see them in that conversation with Kansas City and your Buffalo Bills. There just seems like a level where I just worry that offense is not good enough. Same reason I didn't like them the year before that. Same reason, what's the last time they won a playoff game? It's been a while.
Yeah, since 2000. Or no, later
2016
than that. 2016
or 17, yeah.
It's been a while. Anyway, here's the thing. That was the Miami Dolphins has been since 2000. Here's the thing. Can I tell you that they... are you going to feel super confident? Would they be favored going into a game against Kansas City or a game against Buffalo? Probably not. But Kansas City's offense is not amazing right now either. They are also living on their defense.
Oh, yeah. Tell yourself that. That's
okay.
Yeah, wait till the postseason.
Wait till the postseason.
Their offense was awful last year, and then it got hot at the end of the year and were ridiculous in the playoffs.
But you're saying there's no path. And I'm telling you that if it's defense for defense, I will put the Pittsburgh Steelers up against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right, but they had a great defense last year and didn't have a chance.
If you're just going to say, like, no one may beat the Chiefs. It just might be the Chiefs world that we're living in for the next decade, so I might not have a good answer for you there. But Buffalo has found extremely creative ways to lose playoff games. Baltimore has found extremely creative ways to lose playoff games. Those and Houston Texans, these are not sure things to me in the postseason. Kansas City's the only sure thing, and they might be Mike Tyson punch out at the end of the video game and you never get past them, or your defense disrupts Patrick Mahomes and you finally conquer it. I have nothing for you when it comes to Kansas City. They just might be the best team we've seen since the past. I
can't really see Pittsburgh beating Buffalo in a playoff game because I think in a playoff game, Josh Allen's just like he's going to put his body on the line. I see Buffalo winning that game too. And by the way, I really think Baltimore is going to be a factor in the playoffs, even though they're not playing great now.
Yeah.
And
their defense isn't playing great.
They obviously have a problem with Mike Tomlin, but I just think the top of the AFC is really good. And I don't know why. And the Chargers are going to be a factor too. I have to admit, even though the Steelers did beat the Chargers, Herbert was banged up for that game already, and the Chargers are finding themselves. I think this AFC is brutal, and I think you're going to have to be so good to come out of there. I don't see the Steelers as a complete team, despite beating some bad teams, and they're beating some good teams, but it's just not, I'm not seeing it. You know what I mean, right? Like, it's just like, I eyeball that team, I'm like, I don't know. It feels a lot like the Mason Rudolph Steelers.
Well,
I mean, their offense just is not putting up big numbers.
Listen, if you're looking at who's the team that's been the most impressive in the NFL, it's far and away the Detroit Lions, and I think everyone is kind of a second place to that, right? If you're looking for a team that's going to be blowing teams out by 30 points and looks like this juggernaut, well, that's not going to be the Steelers. That's not how they're going to win this thing.
They're going to have to grind it out.
They're going to have, and that's okay. They live there. This is like that, what was that quote we played from Bane the other day, EJ? Like, you live in the darkness, I was born in it. Steelers want to play this game.
But they've been playing this game for 8 years, and it gets you a lot of W's. It gets you above 500, and it gets you nowhere in the playoffs. This game is not working for them.
Well, I do think that Russ is an upgrade. And again, if they can work in Justin Fields in the red zone, then now you got something cooking here. Because if Russ is still going to be 30% in the red zone, then you're going to have a problem. Russ, a shorter quarterback, can be hard to see when you get down there. But here's the thing. If you have actually a viable option with their legs, it can really keep teams off balance. And by the way, another small thing here, Chiefs just lost their kicker, Harrison Butker, on IR. Steelers kicker might be one of the best now. Chris Boswell is like a sure thing in a season where kickers now are an adventure. So those are my reasons.
I mean, it's okay. I'm looking at the Super Bowl odds, and it's obviously the Chiefs and Bills, then the Ravens. But the Steelers are right after the Ravens, but there's a big drop. The Ravens are plus 800, Steelers are plus 1,800. It doesn't seem. I think
but they're fourth.
They're fourth
in the AFC,
but they're nowhere close to the top three. And the funny thing is the Texans are really not in this mix right now because I don't think anyone thinks they're going to be healthy. Regardless, it's a distant fourth. I think those three. I don't see the Steelers breaking into that conversation, which is funny because they keep on beating the Ravens. It's just the eyeball test. I mean, they'll probably kill the Browns tonight, but the Browns have given up on the season. So again, they're going to get these wins. Regular season wins for the Steelers are just, I don't know what to make of them because I've been fooled. I actually haven't been fooled. They were 10-7 last year. No one thought that team was good. But regardless, like he wins he's built to Mike Tomlin, that is built to win regular season games. I just don't see this formula where this is going to work in the playoffs.
855-212-4227. Do you see the Steelers as a viable Super Bowl contender? Other part, I see our very own Andrew Kaplan also in the chat. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet, Twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. Perloff and I are matching again today. We do this every once in a while. It's not on purpose.
I'm more of a navy. You're more of a black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank God.
He said, I'm with Perloff on this. It's a terrible game. Guys, you're not seeing the possible comedy of what could happen tonight. No, you don't want Jameis Winston in swirling winds and cold with no left tackle. Do you realize the creative interceptions that this dude might throw tonight?
I don't like bad football, Maggie, which is what we're going to see.
guys, live a little. I mean, that's usually my take. I always want everyone to play in a dome, but when it's not my team playing, let's get like sloppy.
It's the opposite how I feel.
You don't want to listen. Perloff just said it. Brown's season is over. 2-8. Stefanski on the hot seat or whatever. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. Let's see some weird football. Who's with me?
Not at all.
Alex in the back, in the front.
Yeah, I just love Jameis Winston's interviews, like his unwavering faith.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Monday.
It's infectious.
You have, what are the other primetime games? You got the Eagles, Rams, and I think the Chargers, Ravens. Like, the problem is, like, there's nothing at stake here. Like, the Browns aren't going to even try tonight, and the Steelers are not that watchable. You describe everything you described about them. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to fall asleep hearing this. Wow, they might go to Justin Fields in the red zone for a 6-yard run.
Come on.
This is
exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, yeah, the Steelers are just, oh my God, they're going to grind out a Mike Tomlin win. I do not need to see this at all.
If you are not excited about Jameis Winston possibly throwing for 300 yards, but also 3 interceptions in the first half, I mean, then we're just not friends.
Browns are
Maybe it's a Thursday night thing. I just feel like Thursday night games just never deliver.
Well, everyone's on a short week. Everyone's all banged up. They can't practice that week generally that hard. So everything's like a little bit sloppier. But, man.
Have you watched the Browns game yet this year?
Yeah.
Like who?
Like which ones?
Yeah, like why?
I watched them in New Orleans. Everyone's dapping up Jameis Winston like he was the prodigal son coming home.
The other thing is, it's sad. Nick Chubb is not the same human being that Nick Chubb was. There's really no reason. I'm telling you, the Browns are as non-watchable team as there is in the league right now. And the Steelers, for a winning team, I mean, come on. This is not going to be fun, Mag. They're going to be
You guys make it sound like it's a homework assignment. It's a
Najee
football
Harris
game.
to the left.
Kind of feels like one.
It's not a homework assignment.
Yeah.
This is fun. Get into it. Rain, win, Cleveland, Ohio. Put a little respect.
None of those things have been described as fun.
EJ, what?
Lake
Rain, wind,
Erie.
in Cleveland? No, not fun.
EJ, is there any in-season tournament stuff going on today? I might jump on that
tomorrow, Fridays.
Maybe
my
catch
gosh.
up. Oh, the Penguin.
Definitely catch up on the Penguin. That's some good stuff.
I'm totally down with that.
You guys are like you're going to be flipping through looking for house hunters.
Deadpool
you're going to
versus
be on this
the
game.
new Deadpool Wolverine movie is now free on Disney, so I might do that tonight.
Can you put up a poll? Would you rather? Are you going to watch Browns, Steelers, or anything else? Because I disagree. I think you guys are going to find yourself into this game.
There's no chance. Have you watched the Steelers? They are the most boring team. They are gonna hand the ball off to those two running backs until the game is over. It's gonna be like, wait, this just started with like 2 shots to George Pickens. Just text me when Pickens is 1-on-1, and I'll tune in for those games.
Okay.
They are really, really hard to watch. And the Browns, I don't know what to do with the Browns.
The Browns don't.
By the
know
way,
what to
this
do with the Browns.
I think honestly, the one person who's going to enjoy this game is Deshaun Watson. He's going to be, look, it wasn't all me. The rest of this team is terrible too.
Yeah, well, he's going to be nice and dry. And
Yeah.
warm. Probably is even in the stadium. I don't know.
I have no idea. Is he ever going to play quarterback there? No one knows anymore.
Definitely not playing for the Browns.
By the way,
again.
the other team that probably likes this is the New York Jets because hey, look at the Browns. They
Stop
paid
talking about us for a minute.
they paid Deshaun Watson $220 million. At least we only paid our guy $170. Yeah, there's. I guess it's a good try, Maggie. That was a nice effort. But
Listen, I'm not on the hook for Amazon. They give me nothing. I'm just scouting, and I'm looking at the Steelers, and I'm thinking, I don't know how much of a litmus test this game is. Probably not. But I want to see how this looks.
I want Herbie to start breaking down the Indiana-Ohio State game in
that'd
the
be
second
great.
quarter. I do not want to hear Herbie even trying NFL. Like, get into the playoffs. I don't want to hear you try and sell this game.
It does
Which
feel
they
like a
won't.
homework assignment for him sometimes.
Yeah,
because the college is just there's such a joy.
Yeah.
That just doesn't really translate as much. Can I give you a stat though that may make this a tiny bit more interesting? Again, I'm not on the hook for Amazon. I'm not caping for them, but I didn't know this until I read it in The Athletic. So thank you. Cleveland has won 8 straight Thursday night football home games. And listen, it's not like they've had these great quarterbacks. Like if you Baker, if you want to say that, it's not like something drastically changed.
Okay,
now I got you.
No, there's this reality show on Amazon Prime. It's called Luxury Yacht, and all they do is take you through luxury yachts. There's a full episode on Shad Khan, the Jags owner's yacht. It's the most incredible yacht you've ever seen. I suggest people check this out when this game gets out of control.
That's going to make me dislike Shad Khan.
He has in the middle of the yacht, he has a 200-foot like screen that plays Jags highlights all 24 hours a day.
How do they have 24 hours worth of Jag highlights?
Like,
It's the same highlight.
You're going back to
Tony
the
Baselli?
You're going back to the Mark Brunell era. So just throwing that out. If this game isn't doing for you, then you might try that one too.
Apparently,
it's got a football tie-in.
Apparently, the show Cross on Amazon also really good.
It's also about your luxury yachts?
No, this is a thriller. This is a crime thriller.
Who's in it?
Aldous Hodge. You've seen the commercials. They show
I have
all
seen
the
those
time.
commercials. Yeah.
Apparently, that show's really
He's a
good.
cop.
that
He's
was-
like
no,
a
but that's
rogue
like
cop.
That's
he's a detective.
Detective part.
It's a serial killer thing though, so we can't watch in front of the kids.
Your
also-
daughter loves horror movies.
Yeah, no,
she would
the
love
young
a
one.
serial killer
We
thing.
don't like the young one is not into serial killer stuff. There's also the new Dune show that on HBO.
Yeah.
Dune, which I can't. Did you watch Dune?
No. But
Yeah, the
here's,
dude-
you already
the-
knew the answer to that.
Yeah.
But here's the question about serial killer stuff. And now we're just onto that because apparently no one wants to talk about Brown Steelers with me. Somebody, 855-212-4227, back me up that the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender. Please, I beg of you. But can I go back to this for a second? We talked sometimes about movies you saw too early as a kid. Like you don't
Like
want your
Jaws
daughter.
or something, yeah.
Right. Stuff that really leaves like the permanent core memory scar tissue. One I saw way too early was about a serial killer. It was called Striking Distance. It was set in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
That movie with Bruce Willis, that is the least scary movie that has ever been made.
But it was about a serial killer. And
Oh, my
that was
God.
so freaky to me because the serial killer is killing all of Bruce Willis's past love interests. And of course,
Yeah.
he gets involved with Sarah Jessica Parker. And,
But that's good because there's a Pittsburgh tie-in.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're on the
And
river.
by the
They're
way,
the boat patrol or whatever.
Did you mention Bane earlier in the segment? Also a Pittsburgh tie-in. There you go.
Well, the game's in Cleveland, but you get what I'm saying.
Well, right, but the Steelers, yeah. I think that that's the best you can do. You have any Cleveland movies? Are there any movies about Cleveland football stadium?
Draft day?
Yeah, Draft Day. There you go. Oh, well, maybe I'll pull that up. Is that available on Prime? I mean, you know my issue with the movie. I mean, you're really going to take a linebacker that high in the year 2016? Come on.
Kevin Costner wouldn't last 2 years.
You need to invest in defensive end and left tackle, and he just no wonder the Browns have had so many issues.
Maybe Woody will call him.
What do you call Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
Come run the Jets?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd only be the second stupidest idea they've had this season. 855-212-4227.
The only thing you got me with was that Browns, two things, the Browns win streak at home, and why is the spread so small? I do not understand.
3.5 for the road team is pretty big in the
Browns
NFL.
just lost by 21 points to the shell of a Saints team. The Saints are like a practice squad at almost every position, and Taysom Hill ran for 134 yards against the team. Taysom Hill's the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He's not a running back, Maggie. He ran for 134 yards against them.
855-212-4227. According to Kaplan, Little Monsters messed him up as a kid. Can we also solicit that on Twitter? What was
Little
the movie
Monsters?
you
What's-
saw too early and freaked you out?
What's Little Monsters? I know Little Giants and I know Monsters, Inc. Little Monsters? Alex from the back, you know that one?
No, I mean one that like kind of messed me up, but like emotionally was the Iron Giant.
I
sad.
can't even watch that now.
Yeah, no way. 855-212.
I don't need that kind of sorrow in my life.
227, no. If I want to be depressed, I'll just watch the Browns. We already talked about that. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in on all of this. Are the Steelers a Super Bowl contender? What's the movie you saw too early in your life that messed you up? We have somebody who's on the verge of getting really rich, Perloff. We thought they would get super rich. Turns out it's going to be more like super duper filthy disgusting. Maybe they'll find themselves on that yacht show you like to watch. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. Two questions for you we put out on X. You can vote on polls. Actually, one is a poll. Will you watch the Browns Steelers tonight on Amazon Prime or anything else? And what movie scared you too much as a kid? Now, I didn't do this, but my friend Paul Paps from Dan Patrick's show has a great story where his dad took him as a tiny kid to see Jaws in the theater.
Oof. Has he been in the water since?
I'm not a fan of being in the ocean, I don't think. So that's funny. I always judge parents who take their kids because they're lazy to horror movies. Like that's like not a good thing to do.
But you should actually have some sympathy here because your daughter, your oldest daughter, Lucy, is 13, 14?
14 now, yeah.
And loves horror movies.
Yeah. No,
and you watch it with her, and these are not like
I won't
Halloween. It's like
no. Now
scary ones.
she won't. She's like, Dad, let's watch a horror movie tonight. I'm like, no, I'm out. She's got.
You watch it alone.
I hate horror movies. I don't understand. And there's a movie out now called The Terrifier, which is very graphic that even she won't do. So she has a line now. feel like Alex from the Back is a big horror movie.
No, I can't stand horror movies.
Does Lucy like the grotesque part of it?
No,
or the
she likes
psychological
the
part?
psychological.
Got it. Okay.
And she thought It was a comedy, and a lot of people do. That's a funny thing. It, the movie about the clown.
Stephen King's It. Not a comedy.
I've seen it. It does definitely has comedic elements. I mean, Bill Hader's in it too. It's not a comedy. Who's seen It?
No shot.
A lot of comedic elements. And she's like, this isn't scary at all. But then I watched it with her. I'm like, well, I'm not sleeping tonight. I mean, there's a killer clown on the loose.
Also, how about this? There was a kid, we went trick-or-treating door to door for like the first time. My kid's 5. And so he was really into it this year. And the one kid out there who was wearing the It costume. And I'm like, thanks for nothing, dude.
Yeah.
Who's the parent who put their kid in the It costume?
Well, you're not scared of the clown when you're just walking on Halloween. If the clown is in the sewer and he reaches his hand out to your son,
I mean,
tell him,
what's the difference?
Say no. You know what freaked out my daughter? It's totally weird. Squid Games. She saw Squid Games.
That's not weird. Squid Games is so fraud. It's so it's like you can't look away.
Yeah, something about the mask. We're talking about the Netflix. What do you call that show? It's not really a horror movie either. It's more of a psychological thriller.
Yeah, about people who try to survive a game show in South Korea.
Yeah, something about the guys in the mask. Everyone's wearing a mask. Freaked her out.
Yeah.
Talking about Netflix stuff, Black Mirror is.
Oh.
But Black Mirror is so totally psychological. It's not like
Or
a
like
horror
the Twilight
movie.
Zone.
I know, but still, some of those episodes are.
Oh, they stay with you
Yeah.
forever. The one with the mayor.
I don't think I've even seen that one. I think I got to like half a season. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. After I watched that first episode, season 1, I just had to sit by myself for a while in a dark room, just contemplating. The mayor of London. You guys don't remember this episode?
No,
Anyway,
just give us a spoiler.
I can't. Cannot.
That doesn't sound scary. The mayor of London? Does he turn out to be a serial killer?
Okay. How do I say this on terrestrial radio for an audience of masses? Let me tell you this. This is the plot. It's the mayor of London, a socialite / royal, I think, gets kidnapped by somebody, and part of the ransom, and she's beloved by everyone. Be like if Kate Middleton got kidnapped or whatever. And in order to get her back, he has to engage in inappropriate something with an animal.
Oh, yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's basically
It's disgusting.
Every episode is some version of that, right?
Well, I know.
Like
This one
every
stayed
version
with me.
is you're watching an adult film and you get caught and then somebody's
yeah.
holding you hostage. That's like 7 episodes.
I just, it made me feel bad about myself. Bill in Houston's going to make us feel better about ourselves. Hey, Bill.
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
We're excellent. What's up?
Now, I'm an older guy, but when I was very young, 5 years old, my mom sat me down in front of a TV and I watched The Birds, the Hitchcock film.
Oh, freaky.
And I, in the attic getting attacked by.
Yeah, Tippi Hedren.
You know,
it's a scary one. Yeah.
I watched Birds. Bill, I watched it recently. Don't ask. It was on cable. It is so not scary. Watch it again. It's like 3 pigeons attack a guy and he
It's
runs
not
into
like
a wall
that.
and kills himself. It is not that scary. I am telling you right now, the effects do not hold up. I'm going to call out that movie Birds right now, Bill.
The effects of Alfred Hitchcock in 1968.
I think it was earlier than that. It was so lame. I'm like all of a sudden 3 pigeons come out of the sky. They're like, we're under attack.
Wait,
Dude, it's just a couple birds. Go inside.
They were pecking through the window.
That was 5-year-old Bill. So
Good point.
it was tough. I mean, I'm sitting out on my front porch, 10 birds are in my yard. I'm still locked and loaded. I'm gonna kill them.
If you see birds of different feathers flocking together, that's when you got to get in the car and get the hell out of there.
So,
Run
like,
for your
if
life.
we're mid-conversation with you and a sparrow flies out, you're pulling out the Magnum 45 and saying, he's after us.
I think, something about the Steelers. Don't you think? I mean, Russell Wilson has been an elite quarterback, and I know he's older. He doesn't move around like he used to, but I'm still thinking that as the rest of the season plays out, if he can approach the level he was in the past, they could play with Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not sure they could beat them, but I think they could be really good. But they're really good right now, but I think they could be even better by the end of the year.
Bill, A+ call. Thank you for that. Listen, there's a reality here, and I'm saying I think the Steelers are a legit Super Bowl contender, but there might be a reality that no one's beating the Chiefs. Like, we have to keep that as a possibility in our brains.
Yeah.
That the Chiefs are just going to three-peat, and they're the dynasty of this generation, and that's it.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's really fair to say because there have been so many close Chiefs playoffs games. It could have gone either way. Your 13-second game against the Bills, the Eagles game was down to the wire. The Niners game went to overtime, 3rd and 4.
They
Who
were
knows?
trailing in the first Super Bowl against the Niners.
Purdy can make a play on 3rd and 4. Like the Niners might win that game. So, no, I think the Chiefs are designed to play close playoff games. They don't feel unbeatable. I know maybe that's going to come back to haunt me and you because my Eagles could be back there. There's something about the Chiefs' mystique is different because they're not going to blow anyone away. So I think the Bills are contenders. I do. I think the Ravens are contenders. I just can't get there with the Steelers yet.
855-212-4227. All right, Bogish is here. Bogish, the horror movie or movie you saw too early that left a permanent scar tissue.
It's a very little-known horror movie. It's called People Under the Stairs.
I think it's another Stephen King.
Ooh, that I don't know, but it's about a guy who kidnaps kids and keeps them under the stairs in his house.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah, it's not good.
Wes Craven.
Remember Wes Craven?
Wes Craven, Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Same guy, I think. Anyway, that's terrifying. Just the title.
Now, do you have the IMDb page open? I feel like one of the kids from Mighty Ducks is in this movie, if I'm remembering correctly.
Look, that's a lot of range.
Yeah. He's like the lead kid under the stair. And one guy has
I think you're right.
Yeah, and then I think the main guy, and then I watched it once and that was enough. There's something wrong with his tongue, so he has a very weird voice, which adds to the creepiness of him.
Yeah, Brandon Quinton Adams is in this movie. He's the kid, but he also was the kid in the Mighty Ducks.
So
he's Jesse.
Here's the thing. I think every person has had this situation when you're young and you start going to sleepovers for birthday parties and stuff. And there's always that one or two people who, if you're at a sleepover birthday party, want to get the scary movie. And it's tough because it's hard to have the stones to be like, no, let's watch, Land Before Time or whatever. Yeah. And that's where you end up seeing these really scary movies.
Remember that movie Phone Booth?
With Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
That's not scary.
No, I mean, if you watch it young enough, it's wild. You're like, what the hell's going on? Kiefer Sutherland's the voice. I now love Kiefer Sutherland. I probably watched that when I was 10.
Kids say, would be like, what's a phone booth? These things don't exist anymore.
Did you think it was a realistic scenario where you were going to be stuck in a phone booth with 24 hours? Dude?
I think I'm always terrified of situations where someone is trying to kill me.
Yeah.
So,
fair.
Yeah.
Wait, is this where the phone rings and he picks up the phone ringing in a phone booth?
Yeah, and essentially he blackmails them into doing terrible things or watching terrible things, and if he leaves, he dies. It's a great movie, I think.
So a movie like Speed, where you were going to be on a bus and you had to keep it over 55 miles an hour. Were you scared by that?
No,
same plot.
I never watched Speed.
Good
but
one.
the movie I saw was My Girl. That was the one for me because the kid dies.
I don't want to talk about My Girl.
Yeah,
I was allergic to bees as a kid, and I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, I don't like bees either.
Yeah, no.
Perloff looking like a young Macaulay Culkin also definitely tracks.
There's a horror movie in the theaters now that a lot of people are watching. It's called Heretic with Hugh Grant. But it was described to me as, the movie Four Weddings and a Funeral? I don't know if everyone. Hugh Grant.
It's an old one, yeah.
This is an evil version of that character from Four Weddings and a Funeral, and it's supposed to be great, but scary. I know it sounds weird. If you want to read a really scary I read a lot of horror movie Wikipedia entries because I will do that. Read about Hereditary. Has anyone seen Hereditary?
No.
Heretic.
Yeah, no, the new one, Hereditary with that is terrifying. Maggie, that will ruin your day for a week.
I'm not even going to read it.
You don't even read this is Amina Kimes thing. She reviews Wikipedia horror movies, and I totally respect that.
No, thank you. All right. Well, nobody else wants to watch Browns Steelers. Bogish, are you with me? No. All right.
I mean,
what are the headlines?
It's going to be on the TV, right? No, I'm going to go to sleep.
Well, the problem is Amazon gets you stuck there. You can't flip on Amazon. So you might, you have to go back into the cable. It's kind of like you might be stuck with it.
Yeah. It's also my wife's birthday today. I might need to hang out with her. We'll see.
Take her out to dinner.
She doesn't want to watch Steelers Browns?
She doesn't.
Does she know that the Browns have won 8 straight Thursday Night Football home games?
I don't think I didn't even know that. So she didn't know that. 8 straight home. I'm going to put that in an update. 8 straight Thursday night home games.
Credit the Athletic.
Was one of them the game where Myles Garrett slammed Mason Rudolph with his helmet?
Was that a Thursday night game? It might have been.
I feel like it had to be.
It was definitely a standalone because it became huge news.
Yeah. And if you've seen how he's been talking this week, he may hit TJ Watt with one of those helmets. He's very upset about TJ Watt talking about not getting Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, last year?
See that.
Yeah, because TJ didn't show up to the award show out of protest.
Really?
He got hurt at the end of the year.
That's super petty out of TJ Watt.
Wait,
Yeah,
did Watt
but-
play every game, though? He
Yeah.
missed the playoffs.
I mean, he played a lot. I mean, Watt thinks he should have won it. And this has been a whole subplot, seeing, our friends Andrew Filipponi and Ken Carmen fighting over this. Like, it's been very fascinating. That's been the most fascinating thing about this. Russell Wilson, Steelers Super Bowl. I like to see the Pittsburgh and Cleveland radio hosts fighting about 2023 Defensive Player of the Year awards.
I'm in for that, too. Sign me
Sorry.
up.
Watt did play all 17 games last year. He just got hurt before the Bills playoff
Yeah, he had a
game.
concussion
Yep.
in one of the games, but finished, I think, and then played the next week, I believe.
TJ is even in the Dick's Sporting Goods commercial that plays everything with the Watt family, TJ looks angry as all get out. In that ad, if you watch him, he looks like he's about JJ is like annoyingly stuck in the Dick's Sporting Goods, and TJ looks like he's going to run in there and tackle him. He is mean.
That's also the scariest thing that Perloff's seen. It's permanent scar tissues. We're talking about horror movies that made us scared as kids. All right, folks.
Your headlines are sponsored by Mint Mobile. Switch and get half off unlimited premium wireless at mintmobile.com/score. The Sixers are back. Joel Embiid, 35 points, 11 rebounds, and easily his best performance as he returns from those knee issues.
Big W then for the Sixers. I love it.
Actually, I'm now being told Embiid did that in a 117-111 loss in Memphis. Philly has dropped 5 in a row, 2-12 overall. And Paul George got hurt again last night. Head coach Nick Nurse was asked if they can rule out structural damage to George's left knee.
I think so. I think they said it was similar to last time, which was a bone bruise, I think.
Or they're just going to take the whole leg off. George hurt that same knee in the preseason.
Can you be less confident about any answer?
He missed the first 5 games of this season with a similar injury.
It's like, so you going to see your in-laws for the holidays? Like, I think so.
You going to watch Steelers-Browns tonight? I think so.
Why does it seem like everyone who works for the Sixers, this is their first rodeo in being in the NBA? Just everything. Joel Embiid, how he talks to the media. Maybe I show up for games. Nick Nurse doesn't know how to talk to the media either. They got to do team meetings 1 week into the season. Like, what the hell's going on?
I'm taking a victory lap on my skepticism of the Paul George signing because you guys thought it was at least possible. Dude's 35. They gave him $200 million. He's never been healthy his entire career, and now it's going to turn around. That's why they're a joke, and that's my team. They're an absolute joke.
They're getting it all out of the way now.
Yeah, but they're load managing to the point, like you can't load manage to the point where you're 10-60.
In the East, you might be able to.
That's fair.
2-12, not out of it.
They're like 2 games back of the Nets for the 10 spot.
I say in the East, I'll give you a first-round matchup with the Knicks.
Yeah.
How bad this conference is.
We'll get to the Knicks in just a second.
People wonder why no one wants to watch the NBA.
The Clippers cooled off the Magic last night, 104-93, extending their home win streak to 6. James Harden, 24 points and 5 assists. Orlando had won 6 in a row. The Warriors thumped the Hawks, 120-97. The Cavs bouncing back from their first loss of the season, 128-100 over the Pelicans. Ty Jerome, a career-high 29. And the Knicks won in Phoenix.
Brunson tries reverse layup as he goes high to low. And the Suns will take a timeout. 131-112. Could be a white flag moment for Mike Budenholzer with 3:41 to go in the fourth.
Jalen Brunson scored 36. Karl Anthony Towns had 34 in a 138-122 victory over the Suns. Mike Budenholzer's team has lost 5 straight, 6 of 7, all without the injured Kevin Durant.
While there's things that we need to work on and improve, the competitiveness of our group has been in a good place when we were winning. And I would still say the same thing right now while we're struggling.
The Knicks, by the way, have won 4 in a row.
I'm very happy to talk about the Knicks, but he's talking about competitiveness. They just did not show up in that first quarter. They were not competitive at all. They looked like they quit. I don't know what the hell the Suns were doing last night.
There's a new women's basketball 3-on-3 league coming in January. Players revealed yesterday, and Caitlin Clark was not included. There were 2 wild card spots left open. She's not expected to take one of those either. Gino Auriemma is now the winningest coach in Division I history, women's or men's. Victory number 1,217 came last night over FDU. The UConn coach breaking his tie with former Stanford coach Tara Vanderveer. George Kittle says he'll be back from his hamstring injury this weekend at Lambeau. Brock Purdy and his sore shoulder put in a limited practice for the Niners yesterday. Braves lefty Chris Sale and Tigers lefty Tarek Skubal are your Cy Youngs. Skubal winning unanimously. And hockey last night, Buffalo a 1-0 win in L.A. Toronto blank Vegas 3-0. And Seattle shut out Nashville 3-0. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Okay, we got some twin questions for you. Steelers a Super Bowl contender. What do you think? Yes or no? And the movie you saw way too young. It doesn't just have to be scary movies that you saw too young. There's other movies you could have seen too young.
Yeah. EJ went with My Girl.
Yeah.
Which is an unusual, not scary, but I get it.
You got to face your mortality when you're 8.
Yeah.
That movie came out in 1991. I was born in 1991, so I probably saw it when I was like 5 or 6. I was probably very young.
Yeah, that had a long run on cable. That was always on.
Well, the other part, too, it's like, well, it's Macaulay Culkin.
Right.
Is he home alone?
Yeah,
it's
I know.
like, nope, he died from a bee sting.
Yeah, because I recognized the
Spoiler
kid,
alert.
and I'm like, oh, yeah, I like him. And then if you're a kid, like, that feels like very possible to you.
That's true.
You're always in a playground.
Yeah.
You're always outside.
We're veering into another
1991
category, veering into the movie that made you cry, which we've done before.
Well, that's every movie for me.
Yeah. Then I'd rather do the scary movie talk. I don't like movies that make you cry. If you saw me at the end of Mitchell's versus the Machines or Inside Out 1, if you're a parent who doesn't cry at Inside Out 1, you should have to give up your kids because you have no heart.
That's it. Child services.
Inside Out 2 also made me cry, but Inside Out 1 particularly, oh my God.
Someone just standing next to your eye ducts, like waiting for some moisture to come out.
Oh my gosh.
Get to keep your kid.
When the kid has to get rid of the memory elephant Bing Bong, it is everybody in the theater was wailing, crying, wailing. It was crazy.
That's not scarring for a kid. A bunch of adults weeping.
And the kids were crying. Everyone was hugging. That's a cry movie.
855-212-4227. Okay, we've got meetings upon meetings upon meetings for one player. Is he going to be worth it? We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, across the country on the Infinity Sports Network. Steelers-Browns tonight. I'm the only one excited about it because I'm the only one around here who thinks that the Steelers are actually a Super Bowl contender. A legit one. We also got into a conversation about the movie that scared you as a kid, the one that you watched just a little bit too early. Ron is in Cleveland, where the game is this evening. Ron, are you excited?
Little bit, yeah. I will say also I am a transplant in Cleveland from Pittsburgh, so.
Living in behind enemy lines. So do you agree with me that your Steelers are a legit Super Bowl contender?
Absolutely. The only reason why I say that is they're getting healthier on defense now, which they already have a good defense, healthier on the offensive line. I think Russell Wilson will get better as the season goes on, so definitely a contender.
Ron, great points. Highsmith, I don't think is playing tonight. The last we saw on the injury report, but he will be back this season. So on the defense, that's awesome. Offensive line also getting healthier. And Ron made a good point there, underscoring. Remember, Russell Wilson injured his calf in the, when you arrive at a new team, the conditioning test.
Right, pushing a sled.
Pushing a sled.
Yeah.
Dude had no preseason. He had nothing. He's still getting to know this offensive coordinator and this offense, and it hasn't been like fireworks. I get that. But unlocking Pickens has been good. The run game's going to be stout. I don't know if they have enough weapons. They certainly don't, which is why they were linked to every wide receiver under the sun this offseason and even into the trade deadline. They got they tried, right? But here's the thing. There's still another gear I think that this offense has.
Oh, I don't know. That really? I feel like Tomlin would never go to the. If he does have another gear, he's going to keep it in the gear he's in. He likes this gear. Isn't that? Are they in Mike Tomlin gear, which is slow and steady, wins the race?
I think that there's also an idea that that has not won you the race so far. So
I don't see that. Like, you really think that they, with Arthur Smith, who is also slow and steady, I don't think they're interested in the next gear.
Well,
they like a little downfield passing. That's why they went to Russ. But they're still certainly not like greatest show on turf.
No, they're not. But no one's expecting them to be that.
Right.
I think that if you get better in the red zone, which a team can get better in the red zone as the season goes on, then you've solved a lot of your problems because Russ now the middle of the field is not the issue. It's just being more productive in the red zone. And I think that's something that can be fixed, especially because Arthur Smith has had offenses that were good in the red zone in the past.
My concern is they get into they play Kansas City in the playoffs, and they're like, we're going to commit to the run, and Kansas City is going to get them in a bunch of 3rd and 8s, and Chris Jones is going to murder Russell Wilson. Just a conservative style of the Steelers. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they're not. I just think that is going to lend itself to trouble against these elite defenses, and your defense, Buffalo too, could probably handle that. I just don't like Tomlin is just so conservative, and maybe tonight we see, well, we're not going to see it in the rain tonight. Maybe we see, also TJ Watt's numbers are way down too. I don't know what's up with that.
So the other part of this is the ball control. I mean, that's the way that you're going to beat Kansas City, right? You just got to try to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands and limit the amount of drives he has. And that's how Buffalo won that game last week against Kansas City. They had to go for it on a 4th and 2 because they couldn't afford to just kick a field goal and then give Patrick Mahomes all this time. You got to do a little of that also, be aggressive.
Yeah, but I don't think Kansas City's going to mail in a game against the Steelers like they did last week against Buffalo.
I love it. They weren't trying. Rock's in Atlanta. Good morning, Rock.
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
We're great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. One thing that I want to say about a movie or a documentary, I don't know if y'all old enough to remember, was Faces of Death. The documentary of Bruce. What's that?
Every young man had to watch that movie. Everybody I know has seen it. It's terrible.
Wait, it's a documentary?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
One thing that terrified me is this guy was in a parachute, and the current took him out of his natural state of location to drop, and it took him into a gator farm.
Wait,
so
what?
I don't have to say what transpired on that event.
Wait a minute. Rock, who goes parachuting near a gator pit?
No, it was the current, the wind current had blew him past his drop location, and he couldn't combat the winds. It was just an unexpected current, I guess, wind current. I don't know about the weather, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he could not control to get the steer away from it. So he fell in the pit, and needless to say, we know what happened.
Wait. I don't remember that. I remember there was this is Faces of Death. We saw a different movie.
I mean, it's literally like 5 or 6 parts of this documentary.
Right. Wasn't there one where a cop was called in to fish a alligator out of a backyard pool, and he goes out and then the gator pulls him in and eats him on camera?
Oh my God! Yeah. Is this like some weird America's Funniest Home Videos Bizarro version?
Like
no, it's like a snuff. It's like an early snuff film, but it was very, very popular. And they eat a live monkey at the end.
Who does?
Yeah, brains.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
It's a tradition in somewhere.
Oh, like
my stepdad, he inducted me into that thing, and it stayed with me for up until now.
It's horrible.
So,
it's terrible.
This is why therapists are employed. You know,
and very rich.
Yeah, $200 an hour, Rock. They'll get that right. They'll straighten that out. Just take the rest of your life. Thank you, Rock.
No, that's
I've never heard of this movie before. Faces of Death.
Yeah, I don't even know. It was like a VHS tape. I don't know when it came out. If it was
78,
right.
I'm looking at 1978.
Yeah, but I don't think it came out in the theaters. Like it was more like an underground tape that got passed around from teenage male to teenage male for years and years and years. In fact, I think it's still around. Like people talk about it.
Okay, it's a mockumentary. It's not a documentary, according to IMDb. It's fake, guys. Am I just breaking this to you?
Fake?
They're faked scenes of people getting killed, intermittent with real footage. Okay, so there is some real footage.
Well,
but a lot of this
that's
is
not
fake.
the movie I saw. Like literally, there's no way they could have faked some of this stuff. Like you see them cut open the monkey's brain.
Oh my God. Oh boy.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Listen, Jim Harbaugh says a lot of crazy things.
Sure does.
This one might take the cake. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This is not about chickens being a nervous bird or who's got it better than us, nobody, or some of the other silly-ish things that Harbaugh says, you know. This one is about his quarterback, Justin Herbert. Did I say welcome to the show? Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Here we are. Okay.
Hello.
Hi. So, Jim Harbaugh, feeling themselves a little bit. Chargers on a roll. Big win in prime time over the Cincinnati Bengals. Chargering may be a thing of the past. But, of course, Harbaugh's got to take it to the next level. Here's Jim Harbaugh talking about his quarterback, Justin Herbert, maybe one of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
He's not only one of the best in the game currently, he's one of the best of all time. I do not think I'm going out on a what do they call it, on a ledge, on a limb. I do not feel at all like I'm going out on a limb and saying that.
All right, sure. I don't buy this for a second. You can hear him working it out as he's saying it, Perloff. I think this is something to keep the confidence high for Herbert because, let's be honest, the beginning of the game was great for Herbert. That was an all-time first half against the Bengals.
Yeah.
But then he kind of disappeared for a little bit and then came back at the end to lead a game-winning drive.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably game flow where the Chargers were getting conservative to try to kill the clock. I mean, it sounds weird, but it doesn't sound that weird because isn't Justin Herbert in the conversation with, I'm not going to say Mahomes, but he's definitely in the conversation with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I don't know who else is the recent, those are the two biggest stars, but he's in obviously like the top 5, top 10 conversation right now, and he's only 26. So is that wild of a thing to say? But you could say it about Josh Allen in 2 seconds, right? He's definitely going to go down as a Hall of Fame, one of the great quarterbacks of all time.
Okay, but here's the thing about Josh Allen. At least he's been to an AFC championship game.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert has not won a playoff game yet. And listen, that might change.
So Lamar Jackson hasn't been to a championship game,
Yeah,
has
he was last year.
But still, he's still not done anything in the playoffs, and he's definitely going to be in the conversation.
Well, he's won 2 MVPs as well, whatever stock into that you want to.
Yeah.
I find it hard. You know, we talk in this day and age that sometimes we anoint guys way too early. Aaron Rodgers has talked a lot about that. And I think this is exactly what Jim Harbaugh is doing. Does Justin Herbert have great tools? Does he have a great profile? Does he have great skill? Totally. But he has not done it in a big game yet. And in fact, the opposite. The only playoff game that he's been in, they blew a 20-plus point lead to Trevor Lawrence. So I can't go there yet. Here's Harbaugh, though, because, you know, there's not stats necessarily to back this up. Believe me, we tried to find where Herbert would be in terms of, active
But
players.
he's got a great TD to interception ratio. That's
this season, yes.
Well, his whole career, I think he's skewing to be one of the betters of all time at that.
Okay, well, here's Harbaugh listing off Justin Herbert's career accomplishments.
That's what he's been doing his entire career. He has the most completions of any quarterback in the history of the National Football League in their first 5 seasons. He has the most fourth quarter comebacks, in that time span of any quarterback in the NFL. So it is what it is. I mean, enjoy it.
We are enjoying it. It's not that, and I'm not trying to downplay Herbert, but I think those stats are flimsy in terms of best of all time.
Yeah.
What I like about Herbert this year, it's all the explosive plays and all that stuff is great. He's being super efficient, yeah. But fourth quarter comebacks, forgive me, that you got to tell me what happened in the whole game that led to your quarterback needing to bring you on a fourth quarter comeback. To be able to do it is one thing, but was it their play early on that puts you in a hole potentially?
I think you're having trouble separating the quarterback from the team. Wins are not a team stat. I mean, that's the thing. Like, who was their coach? Yeah. Brandon Staley.
No, he stinks. I get
to
it.
even make the playoffs with Brandon Staley, to win 11 games, like that's a pretty good achievement.
Well, they actually could have made the playoffs twice if their head coach didn't totally
because
botch basically a week 18 playoff game between them and the Raiders that he screwed.
But it also, too, this is a little bit of an eye test for everybody. Dude, 6'6", can run like crazy and throw the ball anywhere he wants. So much like Josh Allen, like they just don't invent quarterbacks like that. There's not. You say that there are other quarterbacks. He's a unicorn in a lot of senses.
So here's the thing about wins not being a quarterback stat.
Yeah.
I agree with you. There's a lot that goes on to a game. But I do think that quarterbacks are judged by what you do in big games. And I don't think that's unfair. And right now, the only game of consequence, of note, anything that really had stakes on it, Justin Herbert's team blew an all-time lead. So forgive me if I can't get there right now, because you're right. When we judge Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, we don't judge them on the regular season stuff anymore. It's about what happens in crunch time, and we just don't have a lot with Justin Herbert.
Yeah, but none of it. Wait, did you list one Super Bowl winning quarterback in that list?
I said Mahomes.
Oh, Mahomes. Well, yeah, but like Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, like those guys haven't really won a Super Bowl yet either. So I think that I don't think you can judge these guys based on that. And same with your guy Josh Allen. It's it's just Justin Herbert who he is. He's just ridiculous. I mean, he makes throws and nobody else can make except for maybe Mahomes and Allen. His arm strike's crazy. He just seems he's got a lot of skills. Like he could easily be an all-time great. I mean, Aaron Rodgers lost a ton of big games. I mean, he was the number 1 seed 2 years in a row and blew it in the first round. I'm just saying, I wouldn't judge this on wins and losses. And Aaron Rodgers is definitely a top 10 quarterback. I could see Herbert being top 10, top 15 easily. You couldn't see that if you squint?
Here's the thing. I want to see it play out a little bit. And I'm actually surprised that it's Jim Harbaugh who's the one who's doing this because he's the guy I feel like well, listen, he says some interesting stuff about quarterbacks. And he say J.J. McCarthy was the greatest quarterback in the history of Michigan football.
Yeah, he said in college, and that's probably true.
I mean, the guy was throwing like 10 passes a game at some points. Like
Michigan.
Yeah, I know. His competition was not great. I think nobody could disprove that one. Maybe who's his competition?
But I guess sometimes Jim Harbaugh is like he can do this hyperbole thing, but I also think he doesn't like to give flowers before they're earned. You know, I think he's always so worried about being soft or you're like what Nick Saban used to call the rat poison. Like don't praise us, don't give us too much because that's like he's kind of going against what I always thought he talked about Bo Schembechler doing, right? Like he had a quote yesterday in the same press conference where he's talking about Bo Schembechler used to tell him and everyone, if someone says something nice about you, kick them in the shins. Because if someone says something nice, it means they're trying to make you soft. They're trying to take away some of your fire in your fight. And isn't Jim Harbaugh kind of doing this? You're going to anoint Justin Herbert, one of the great quarterbacks of all time, when we're going into week 11 of the NFL season. And his first it's too soon. It's way too soon.
You know, he's been doing.
I don't believe this.
You guys he's doing a running bit all year about how Justin Herbert's a god, right? Like he's like the beast mode thing.
Yeah.
He's been doing it. That's like Harbaugh, by the way, is half coach, half stand-up comedian now. So you have to understand he's totally performing.
Right, so I can't take it seriously then.
But, you know, Justin Herbert right now ranks 7th all-time in yards per game. Like his numbers, he's going to have a Hall of Fame numbers because of the era.
Sure.
And I think
games,
Harbaugh looks at him. He's like, we're definitely going to win at a high level here. So he wins the Super Bowl. He's definitely going to get in this list. He's going to be... I actually think it's a safer bet that he makes the Hall of Fame than doesn't make the Hall of Fame. And also, his start to his career is actually in that trajectory. Like he's already made a Pro Bowl, Rookie of the Year. Like he'll be fine if he stays healthy. And he's just he's different of other tall quarterbacks. He's just got a lot more going on. The other thing too is I wonder like what impact is watching Justin Herbert ball out this year? I mean, does that mean that everyone's gonna be like every owner's gonna be like, hey, can you get me a guy who's 6'6" and can run a 4.6 and throw it anywhere he wants? I think he's like, there's a new like tall quarterback revolution. So Carson Beck will probably go higher than he should.
Oh, that's interesting.
But,
because shorter quarterbacks or slighter quarterbacks have become the thing. Bryce Young, Tua, Kyler Murray, Baker. I mean, these are all top picks.
You've been in an NFL tunnel before. There's nothing more impressive than when the quarterback walks out and he's 6'7". Like when you see Brady in person, when you see Flacco come out, like I think Herbert is just kind of awe-inspiring to Jim Harbaugh. I mean, the dude just had to coach J.J. McCarthy at Michigan. If you went from J.J. McCarthy, who's a first-round pick, to Justin Herbert, who's 10 times the quarterback, I get it. Maybe I'm way over my skis with Jim Harbaugh, but I think Justin Herbert's going to be a Hall of Famer.
855-212-4227. Okay, so you could weigh in on Justin Herbert. A little too soon for me. I don't know, EJ. I know we love our fans in Oregon. We know Justin Herbert is a legend. He's a god in Eugene. He's from Eugene. 4 years at Oregon. We love it, but I can't put him in the Hall of Fame yet.
Sorry, I left Burrow out of my list of elite guys. I think because the Bengals are out of the playoff picture, he's in that conversation too, obviously.
No doubt.
In a weird way, while this statement to me is utterly ridiculous, I mean, the guy's 37, 35 in his career. I know he said he made a Pro Bowl, 1 Pro Bowl in 5 years. But what I will say is I really like this from Harbaugh, because it reminds me of what Mark Jackson was doing with Steph Curry. Immediately he got there and was like, this is the best shooting backcourt I've ever seen. These guys should be able to shoot wherever they want. This guy's the baddest man on the planet. Like, a lot of that was putting a lot on a talent that he sees that is special and saying, he's great. You got to give him all the confidence in the world. You're the baddest guy out there. I actually think because Justin Herbert, in my opinion, has been a loser, like that's his record before this season was a losing record. I think instilling that kind of confidence in him and letting him know that when he steps on the field, he is the most physically gifted guy out there, I think in some ways helping, and I think you're seeing it this year. I mean, this guy, we forget, he's playing on a bad sprained ankle. And as Perloff mentioned, 13 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's having a phenomenal season. And I think some of that, is this mojo Harbaugh's giving them. And I would slightly disagree. I think Harbaugh actually kind of does this with his players a lot. He did it with Alex Smith when he went to San Francisco. He did this a lot with J.J. McCarthy about how great he was. I think this is kind of his coaching style.
This is why people pick them to go to the playoffs this year. And Harbaugh, now he's not going to win Coach of the Year because Dan Quinn looks like he's pretty far out in front on this thing. But this is why you get Harbaugh.
Oh, no.
It's not for 5 years down the line. It's for right now.
He's definitely winning Coach of the Year.
The last I saw, Dan Quinn was a heavy favorite, but I did, in fairness, I checked like 2 weeks ago. But Dan Quinn was like minus 1,000 or something.
By the way, that totally is not your point at all, but there are other reads on Mark Jackson and Steph Curry and the Warriors, that maybe Jackson was holding Curry back style-wise.
Well, but he came in and he was immediately saying this guy is a superstar.
Yeah, your point is valid.
And this is the best backcourt. This is the best shooting backcourt I've ever seen. Steph Curry is the best shooter I've ever seen. These were things that at the time did seem ridiculous. And it was like, how could you say this? Like, what the hell? And then I think it gave Steph Curry confidence to take his game to another level. He became an all-star under Mark Jackson. And of course, his game got even greater when he got to Steve Kerr. But like that, instilling that confidence in a guy who maybe hasn't won so much, I think there's a parallel there.
I'm just also looking back, this was a great game for the Chargers because they won against the Bengals. And it was 24-6 at halftime. And then here are the drives for the Chargers in the second half. 3 and out, field goal, 3 and out, fumble, 4 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, touchdown. I mean, okay, you can say coming through when it matters, but you could also say, wow, that was a lot of blown drives and totally zero drives. And again, it's not that you can't see the talent of Herbert, but let's see it. Let's wait a little bit. I want at least a full season with him and Harbaugh. And you're right, they're probably making the playoffs.
I mean, they scored 34 points. I mean, that's not it. You can't say anything bad about the quarterback in that game. I mean, yes, they had that but did you see the 2 throws at the end of the game when he needed them?
Yeah,
I think they went into, this happens, it's game flow. When you're up big, you definitely
You don't want to go 3 and out. That do not give me that. You don't want to go 3 and out when you're up like
you're
that.
up big against the Bengals. The Bengals knew you're going to hand the ball off on first down. That's what happens. That's every game.
No, they weren't. That's the thing. They were actually throwing the ball on first down, and they were taking no time off the clock. This is how the Bengals got back into the game. So
they scored 34 points, and Justin Herbert made these 2 crazy throws at the end of the game to Ladd McConkey. And there was another throw where he was running against his body and just put a rope down the field. There's definitely nothing wrong with Justin Herbert.
No, there's not. But there was also a fumble that led to the Bengals getting the ball back and tying the game. Listen, you win, you get to write the story. But let's just not forget it's never going to be perfect. And that's my point.
And that's fair. But I would also say, though, Maggie, what's good, though, is that they are winning these games. Like what we've seen, as we always say, charging, that's been an adjective or a verb to describe what they do. Like the fact that, whether Herbert's numbers are great or not so great, or whether he maybe gives up the game, they're still winning. And I think that's just been a difference for this season where, wow, it feels like they are coming into a game and already have an advantage because of the confidence they come into the game
with Harbaugh, and that's fine. But let's look a little bit closer. So the games that they're 7-3, and this was a big deal because Joe Burrow is actually a great quarterback to be playing against. All right, you're going to be going throw for throw, and that's what ended up happening. The other teams that they've won: Tennessee Titans, at Cleveland, New Orleans, Denver, Carolina, the Raiders.
Yeah.
That's not the who's who of quarterbacks in the NFL. They've lost to Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Arizona.
Yeah, they're 1-3 against winning teams with the 1 win coming against Denver. Yeah, no, it's definitely been a schedule thing.
For sure.
Right. So the whole greatest of all time stuff. Listen, does Herbert pass the eye test? Of course he does. You're right. 6'6", looks like an Adonis. He can run. His arm. Ryan Leaf told us he thinks that that Justin has the strongest arm of any NFL quarterback. Josh Allen, be damned. He didn't care. Herbert's he's got all the physical tools. Let's see. And now they've got a big game against Baltimore on Monday night.
My only question for you guys is why, I have no problem with Harbaugh saying this because I think it's more for Herbert, less for us. I do wonder, though, does this become a problem in terms of you raising expectations too high too early for this team? Because I think, Maggie, you make it great.
7-3, and it's Harbaugh. I think it's too late.
Well, we get to the playoffs, and if they get, I don't really believe the Chargers team that much. So let's say they go in the first round, they get smoked, which I think is
It's going to be worse.
Right. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So do you
Yep.
feel like this is too much because of that? Like, you putting too much pressure and too much expectation on
if
the team
they're
that's
healthy,
really a year ahead, probably.
They're not a team that lends itself to getting smoked, though, because they have if Bosa and James stay healthy, then they've never gotten smoked. Like when those two guys are, Joey Bosa and Derwin James are on the field, like they're competitive in every game. I don't care if Brandon Staley's the coach
Sure.
or Jim Harbaugh.
Right, but TJ's point, like if they do lose bad, I think they're
not going to lose bad.
Okay, but let's just, for argument's sake,
Right.
say they do. They lost bad with, when they played the Jaguars and they were ahead and then blew a lead. Like, you could play bad, can look a lot of different ways.
Got it.
We
yeah.
didn't think Lamar was going to play bad in the AFC Championship game, and he played terribly. So if Herbert does, if they lose and he plays poorly, it's going to be the same type of criticism as if it was Mahomes, Allen, Lamar. Yes.
I totally disagree, because like they're underdogs against the Ravens at home, right? Like the public perception of them is still way down. They're not. We read the Super Bowl odds earlier. The Steelers, who are way ahead of them, like they're not public perception wise. I don't think people are looking at them as a Super Bowl team yet. I think they're actually ahead of public perception. I think they're a better team than the public even perceives them now. So I don't think there'd be great disappointment, because they've never really been there. Like, there'll be great disappointment if the Bills don't do anything, if the Chiefs don't do anything, if the Ravens don't do anything. I think the Chargers, everyone gives them like they're in building mode. Isn't that how they're viewed?
Well, not if you have the greatest quarterback of all time and he's getting paid $250 million. You're not in build.
Did he say he will become one of the greatest quarterbacks, like the greatest quarterback? Well, that's a slight distinction here, but no, I don't think
in the category.
Nobody's going to be super disappointed if he loses, right? Like, I just don't think the Chargers are viewed that way by the NFL nation.
855-212-4227. All right, some robust Chargers talk this morning. Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert. We know we're on in Oregon, so you got a lot of big Herbert fans. We're on in San Diego. If there's any Charger fans left in San Diego, I know that's a sore spot, but we want to hear from you. Again, you can watch the show, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and at Maggie Gray on X. We're also asking a side question today. The movie you saw way too young. Oof. Still remembered. Everyone does. I probably shouldn't have seen that movie. It was 8. That one left some scars. It's Maggie and Perloff. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. A lot of heated debates going on right now. Maggie does not see eye to eye with Jim Harbaugh and I that Justin Herbert is the greatest quarterback of all time.
No.
Actually, the argument...
What's wrong with me?
Harbaugh said that he is already one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Or how did he word it? He didn't say the greatest because that's reserved for Mahomes and Brady. But I'll tell you right now, Justin Herbert's easily.
I do not think I'm going out on a not only one of the best in the game currently. He's one of the best of all time.
Yeah, he's got because it's easy to put up numbers now. His numbers are very well on trajectory to be one of the best of all time. He's 7th all time in yards per game. The other 6 are playing currently, basically. But yeah, he's going to have a great career. I totally agree with that. The other question, like, are the Chargers a Super Bowl team? That I'm not going to go with. Maggie says the Steelers are a Super Bowl team. I say no. I think that it's going to come down to Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs in the AFC.
Andrew Bogish is here with headlines on this morning. You're welcome to call about this, by the way, 855-212-4227. We're also getting a lot of good entries for the movie that you saw too young as a child, so keep those coming. Hey, folks.
Good morning. These headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season is here, week 12, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code MANDP, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Last night's 85-41 win over FDU was the 329th 40-point win for UConn women's coach Gino Auriemma. He has only lost 162 times total, so he has far more, almost double, 40-point wins than losses. And now he has more wins by any margin than any other college coach.
It makes me appreciate for sure all the things that have happened in the past, all the people that have contributed to this, because you don't really notice it along the way. You just kind of do it. So this is an opportunity to look back and say thank you to everybody.
That was from SNY TV on the court after the win. There were over 60 former players in attendance for this last night. and Gino did not let them go home unscathed.
I was shocked because they had to pay their own way. And if you know any of these guys, you know they all have their Holy Communion money.
Now,
you called the whole team cheap?
Yeah.
Every single player?
That he's ever coached. Like Sue Bird's cheap.
Well, here's the question. Why is Sue Bird paying her own way? Why is Maya Moore paying her own way? These have won multiple titles. Gino's not Gino without these players.
So
Chicken or the egg.
Who's supposed to pay?
Wouldn't the school pay?
So taxpayer dollars are going to fly
the athletic
Sue Bird,
department.
who's a multimillionaire?
Wait, don't people pay their... Wouldn't that normally happen?
I don't, not a college
If you're
program.
a dignitary and you go back to a school,
That's
they don't
public
offer
funds.
you?
Like when all the NFL guys have a bye week and go to their alma mater, do you think they're flying it? No way. Like, no, you can't use public money to fly in Diana Taurasi. She was there anyway for ESPN, right? But no.
I think the
Are they
problem
supposed
is,
to pay for their own tickets too and stay in their own hotels? No?
my guess is funding
No.
60 plus people showing up's the problem. Like if you were retiring Sue Bird's number, you get Sue Bird
Wait,
there.
I don't think the colleges can fund any of them. Like, where would that expenditure be? I don't understand.
What do you mean? Like there's money.
There's alumni
they
money.
sell tickets.
No? Isn't there like a fund that helps?
But not like the
a
school.
A discretionary fund for the athletic department? You don't think that exists?
What about NIL too? They can't just use.
Well,
the
that's
NIL
not like
fund?
school money. I don't think like colleges can do a lot of those things. Like just like put up, like you think USC can just like put up Reggie Bush and then not Reggie Bush.
I'd say one of all the examples,
I,
that's the one you went to.
I don't think colleges can really easily do stuff like that. It's not like a pro team.
But do you think it's against the rules or they don't have the money?
It's public. It's a public university, yeah,
right? But
like-
not all of their money comes from public funding. Like they get money from selling beer at Gamble Pavilion last night and selling tickets to the game. Like that's not public money.
Also,
that's their money.
What if you welcome any dignitary? Say that like, someone outside of sports comes to the university.
Yeah, like an English, like a writer comes to the English department. But like, I think that stuff is all like it's not easy to do that. Like you have to have a budget and blah, 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 blah. It's
Exactly.
college. There's more bureaucracy than anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have
Of all the things that happened with Gino Auriemma last night, this is not the point I thought we were going to get hung up on.
Right.
I thought it was going to be like, is UConn the greatest dynasty ever?
Well, he's the one who
Gino.
said it, not me.
I didn't think there was an issue with it. I just find it funny that he called them all cheap.
I was going to raise the question that Holy Communion money joke is old. Can it last longer than now? I feel like he might be the last person to use that joke and get a laugh out of it.
I didn't even know what he was talking about.
Me neither, but that's all right. He took over in 1985 because I was thinking a lot about another headline from women's college basketball yesterday, which I think you already did, Bogues, which is South Carolina. So
Nope.
You haven't done it yet. Sorry. South Carolina just won their 43rd straight game last night. Okay, they beat Clemson. Before that, they were on a streak of 42 straight wins. So they had 42 straight wins, then they lost to Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes in the Final Four. Now they've just rattled off 43 in a row. Like, is Dawn Staley going to get there?
So I have a Gino cut about that for later this morning because the question is, will somebody coach 40 years to get to 1,200 wins? And spoiler alert, he says no.
Why? Because
the game is different.
Okay.
The roles are different. He doesn't think people are going to stick around for 4 decades anymore. And I'm like, at some point too, Dawn Staley will get paid better longer than Gino did.
That's
where
true.
you might just go, all right, I'm good now.
Right.
Like let me just go be retired.
But like you could have said that for any of the coaches. Like you could have said that about Mac Brown a long time ago. He's still coaching. Greg Popovich, I know, is sick now, but he's still coaching. Belichick wants to get into it. I mean, people ought to coach for a long time.
Yes, and coaches end up being afraid that if they're not a coach, they're nothing. So like they just do it as long as they can. But
Identity
still,
crisis.
40 years is a long time.
I also think there's a future when it comes to women's basketball where ambition will take them out of the game. These great coaches. So like Dawn Staley, maybe she's coaching in the NBA or WNBA or a men's team. Maybe the next great women's college basketball coach is coaching men's college basketball or in the WNBA. Like, are you going to have a women's coach that stays for 40 years just coaching women's basketball?
Right.
I think the game is changing in a way in which we're going to see coaches flip from men, women, pro, college. I don't know if you're going to have that one coach, Pat Summitt or Gino Auriemma, just coaching one team or even just coaching women's college basketball for that long. and being that successful.
The one caveat is the record that Gino broke last night, and now it's 1,217 wins. That's just the NCAA record. It's not women's basketball. It's not even, I misspoke last hour saying Division I. That's just NCAA, men, women, all divisions. No one's more games than him. So if Dawn Staley did coach South Carolina men and coached for 40 years and won 1,300 games, she would be better than Gino.
Got it.
She would break this record.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that Dawn Staley may have been an outside candidate for the Kentucky job last time around. Mark Pope got it, obviously, and things are off to a good start. And I don't think she really was. So I know, obviously we've had some thoughts about women coaching
men. Did she
men.
interview for the Hornets job last year?
I'm looking this up now. I believe the Hornets did not reach out, but she preemptively said, I don't want to coach that team, which I get it.
Okay. Listen, like Nancy Lieberman, we've had women who are coaching men, but I don't know. I think those doors are opening, but I'm not so sure in reality if they actually are.
I think the legitimacy of the doors being open is the question, right? Like, is an AD or an owner really open to hiring Becky Hammond or Dawn Staley, or does he think that he should just talk to them for appearances?
Yeah, for PR purposes or something. Yeah. A great question.
The men's college basketball last night included third-ranked Gonzaga dismissing Long Beach State 84-41, and number 8 Alabama outscored 25th-ranked Illinois 187. Paul George hyperextending his left knee in the Sixers' 117-111 loss in Memphis. That same injury to that same knee cost George the first 5 games of this season. The Bucks going in the other direction for now, winners of 4 of 5 after Giannis scored 41 in a 122-106 decision over the Bulls.
We're trending towards the right direction right now, so I'm happy, but I gotta stay locked in. I want to go back the other way. Then we got to stay locked in for sure.
The Clippers pushed their home win streak to 6, 104-93 over the Magic. The Rockets outscored the Pacers 130-113. And the Thunder down the Blazers 109-99. Isaiah Hartenstein, 13 points, 14 rebounds, 4 blocks in his delayed OKC debut because of a broken left hand. Bucks wide out Mike Evans trending towards playing Sunday at the Giants. He has been out since hurting his hamstring in Week 7. For just the third time ever, 2 lefties won the Cy Young. Chris Sale from Atlanta, Tarek Skubal from Detroit, both won the pitching triple crown this season, leading their leagues in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. The Carolina Hurricanes scored 3 times in the first 7 minutes of the third period to beat the Flyers last night 4-1, and a group including Cavs owner Dan Gilbert has submitted a proposal for a WNBA franchise for Cleveland. The league has 1 spot left to fill as it plans to get to 16 teams by 2028. Guys, back to you.
Bogish, thanks. Did you guys also see, and speaking of ownership news, that the 10% stake in the Raiders that Mark Davis was selling to the group that includes Tom Brady, that went through yesterday too?
Hey, what? And didn't the NFL... I saw a story at Pro Football Talk. They're even limiting Brady even more as a broadcaster now. Because is that why?
He's going to be gone after the season from broadcasting. Yeah. I feel as good about that prediction as any that I've ever made in sports.
Yeah,
he's going to do the Super Bowl and he'll be out.
Does he want to go out like this? Is sort of criticized?
He's getting better. He's getting better.
Yeah, I think he wants to get better. I don't think he wants. Is he getting that much better? I don't think so. His voice is hard to handle.
Listen, he's definitely getting better on the analysis, the ins and outs. He's being more definitive, declarative. He no longer feels so lost.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to be like Jason Witten and everyone's going to say, oh man, you were a gigantic failure.
But Witten was a disaster from start to finish. If you actually are being fair to Brady, he is getting better.
But just the one and done aspect of it, I think his legacy would be very negative if he left after 1 year. I'll take that bet.
How many years did Joe Montana do?
But those guys were mocked. Brady hasn't been mocked yet. He's been critiqued, but he hasn't been...
Well, like Drew Brees did one and done, but he wasn't that bad. He just was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Drew Brees wants back in, by the way.
Yeah, Emmett was kind of boring. Yeah. It's not like they were terrible, but they also... Did Joe Montana get $40 million a year? Like, Brady is still a draw. I'll do this. We have to have some sort of Tom Brady bet.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. Like, he should stop everything and run that Raiders organization.
Well, the Raiders need him. If you're asking who needs who, like Fox will be fine without Tom Brady. The Raiders need Tom Brady.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought he owned 10% himself. He's part of a group that owns 10%?
Yeah, with Jim Gray.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
I couldn't make that up if I had all the time in the world and all of Aaron Rodgers' ayahuasca. I would have never gotten there.
If Brady was smart, he would stay in broadcasting instead of trying to turn that thing around.
Yeah, I was about to say.
What hurts your legacy more, trying to turn around the Raiders or being a mediocre broadcaster?
Mediocre broadcaster by a million. I feel like nobody cares that Magic Johnson was not great as a broadcaster. We all remember him basically saying, I'm not going to be here, talking about being a Lakers executive. That lives forever.
But Derek Jeter it didn't hurt him that the Miami Marlins.
That's the Marlins.
I think of Magic as a social media star more than anything.
Was that too?
Pointing out the obvious.
Magic is the great example of why I think GOATs, you can kind of fail in anything and it's fine. Like
but
Magic
but he's like part of the Dodgers, part of the Commanders. Like he's had some successes.
He's had
owner.
amazing successes.
Yeah. Magic Johnson's a billionaire, guys.
Yeah,
the Magic Hour was not a great show.
Exactly.
Oh, the talk show. Yeah, that was the worst.
Coach, front office person. Like, yeah, he's had some failures, but it doesn't matter because he's Magic, he's a GOAT, and he's been successful in other things, just like Tom Brady.
Yeah, you're
Wayne
right.
Gretzky wasn't a good hockey coach.
Again, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. You get a lot of leeway.
Yeah, if you do other things and you're not good at it, we're like, it's fine. You still
got your one thing.
You scored the most goals until Al Silvestrin passes you in a couple of weeks.
The ultimate is Michael Jordan. I don't think.
Oh, he's a terrible owner.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to stay. Well, he just sold it, right?
Yep.
I don't think anyone cares. Like, that's not part of his
To be
legacy.
honest, he's probably a worse owner than Mark Davis.
I wouldn't go that far.
Or Woody Johnson. I mean, it's not as embarrassing as Woody Johnson, but it's not as successful.
I don't think he ever won a playoff game. Like, ever.
None of those Kemba Walker teams ever won a playoff game?
I think they got swept every year.
How many years did he actually own that team?
Too long.
Forever. Thank you, folks. 855-212-4227. Quickly, Jack is in Portland, Oregon. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning. So I normally am not up early enough to hear you all live, but I was dying earlier this week when you were talking about Perloff and the crew were talking about how they'd pee around the toilet and make messes, and that his daughter was, sometimes would go on the sidewalk. And at our house, we have trained both of our boys to sit down when they go pee. Otherwise, if they make a mess, they have to clean it up themselves. And it quickly changes your attitude about whether or not you want to stand up. And so it's been a thing in our house to avoid that mess everywhere and keeping your aim straight. And then the movie that you all were asking about, I had some older friends in the neighborhood when I was younger. I was about 5 or 6, and it was Porky's. I don't know if you all remember that movie, but it was absolutely something I shouldn't have watched at 5 or 6 years old. But anyway, thanks y'all for being a great show to listen to. I appreciate it.
Jack, A+ call.
I'd say Porky's is the one movie that people saw their first boob shot for most of many on cable. Like the cable's coming in fuzzy. You might get a little bit of Cinemax. Oh, it's Porky's is on.
I think wasn't it Samantha from Sex and the City? Was she in Porky's? She's in one of those movies. It might have been her.
But that is by the way, a good point too. Like nothing is less accurate. I even take Anthony Richardson is more accurate than a young boy around the bathroom.
Around the toilet. The one thing about Jack, so he said that they taught their boys to sit down on the toilet.
That's a sound strategy.
Okay.
Until they go to school and they're sitting in the urinal and they're getting mocked.
Yeah, also
you gotta be
too,
careful.
Physical, like I would not. I personally like to sit in a school urinal. Like to sit in a school toilet. Like who knows what's happening there?
Yeah.
Well, that's
disgusting.
Why there's like toilet paper and seat covers you can
There's
put
not
down.
enough toilet paper and seat cover
in the
New York
world.
City public school.
Okay. I mean, this is your territory, good dudes.
Yeah, that's a bad assumption. I think that there's the seat covers in urinals in PS 113 in Manhattan.
Manhattan, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, not every
Also,
school
I don't
is
think
like
there's
that. To be
doors on the stalls.
There might be that, yeah.
Yeah. That's a must go home situation.
Is the bathroom in elementary school like prison for you guys? Like,
Yes.
Closer to prison than what you think it is.
But when you get
Man,
also
being
when
a
you get
woman is
older,
so much easier
you're
for
afraid you're going to get killed in that bathroom.
I don't know about
jumped?
death.
No, like that was where the major bullying could go down. Like
I thought it was always on the bus. The bus seemed
was
like
bad.
major bullying.
Man, you went to some bad schools, Perloff.
No, it
the
wasn't
same
like
school as Kobe Bryant. This is not a bad school. It's
You
on the
were-
main line in Philadelphia.
you were going to get killed, but you were going to get beat up a lot. Like we got like punched in the arm and like, yeah, you definitely didn't want to get, what is it called when you grab by the ankles and dunk your head in the
the
toilet?
swirly?
Yeah. Like
that's a thing. That feels like just something from a movie.
I don't know. I never went in the bathroom except
You just hold it all day.
No, you'd have to go you'd have to find the right bathroom where the young kids were. Like the ninth graders. Like I was terrified of seniors. Maybe you guys weren't scared of older kids in your school?
No.
A little bit.
To the point where you wouldn't go to the bathroom all day?
Well, so no, not that to point, but like football locker room, you're a freshman, and then the varsity's all in the same
insane.
bathroom. Yeah, that's the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, the showers are like
those are days.
Things are taped, Maggie. That's all I will say.
Oh, good.
This is where you make sure you change on the way home. You don't change. Just leave in your football equipment.
Man, you guys need to talk about this with
I
somebody.
think so.
We need to have a little therapy sesh.
Well, football culture, hockey culture, it's quite abusive. There's no doubt about that. But it was all good fun.
Doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't even a little bit.
I just can't believe
you're crying.
No, actually,
one single tear.
Yeah.
We're not making fun of it. If something like that happened, you got to talk to somebody about it. Don't hold it in. But the thing is, I just didn't know. Yeah, the football stuff, the hockey stuff. I've read about that. It's awful. But I didn't realize this was just your daily lives. Sorry, for women in the restroom, this is a totally different experience. We got flowers in there.
But
it's like a nice
couches,
experience.
Massages.
There's
right?
like hand cream and
Where
nice.
did people smoke and do drugs if not in the bathroom?
I mean, or just it's cleaner, I think.
Well, but smoking though, wasn't that a thing in your bathrooms?
No, our bathrooms didn't have windows. No one was smoking in there. That wouldn't be good. All right. Instead of doing the scary movie that you saw too early, maybe we should have a little more of an in-depth conversation.
What's more scarier, a scary movie or going to
being a freshman having to take a whiz during fourth period? 855-212-4227.
You're totally safe during the period. It's in the break, the turnovers when the seniors are there. If you walked into a bathroom and I'm not gonna say names, Tom Blank was there. You just got out of that.
This guy again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know that guy, that football player.
Have you ever seen the show Happy Days?
You
know how Fonz had the bathroom was his office, which is kind of gross. But that's the bully owned the bathroom. That was their territory. That was not yours.
Got it.
You'd be better off to just run outside and go in the bushes.
Just have the accident.
There'd be no ridicule peeing your pants. Just don't walk into the bathroom, heaven forbid. All right. 855-212-4227. Thank you for that. We're going to get into Mike McCarthy Unfiltered next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Listen, we wear a lot of hats on this show. Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Sometimes we're talking sports, mostly. Sometimes we're talking about movies you saw too young as a kid that made you feel scared. Sometimes we're talking about trials and tribulations of just being a young man trying to get through high school, having to go to the bathroom in the middle of the day and feeling like you can't go into the bathroom.
You know the song "Smoking in the Boys' Room" by Motley Crue?
Yes.
The boys' room was where illegal things went down, so it was terrifying.
I love it how Perloff, you make your high school seem like Alcatraz.
Well, I mean, it's not, yeah. I mean, also, just keep in mind, I'm a coward. Don't forget that aspect of it. And I'm talking about ninth grade. By 11th, 12th grade, I was comfortable enough that I wasn't going to get beat up to go into the men's room. But, yeah, no, as a young kid, like, what are you, crazy? Especially the one on the first floor where, like, the real bad kids hung out. No way.
I'm raising a young boy. You guys are scaring the bejesus out of me. Dino is in Maryland. Dino, you are a public school teacher?
Yes. 31 years in Title I public schools, kindergarten through 5th grade. I teach phys ed. And the bathrooms, again, you're talking about kindergarten, 5 through 10-year-olds. The boys' bathroom, they're so disgusting. That at times everybody's got to, it's nature. You have to go to the bathroom. So because our kids, and by the way, kids in our county, no matter if they're in, middle school or high school, they don't change anymore for phys ed. Now, they haven't showered for 15 to 20 years. I coach also. You play a varsity basketball game. Everyone's soaking wet and stink. They put their sweats on and get on the bus. So I don't know if it's a culture thing, whatever it is. But as far as the bathroom, me and my co-partner, We have one bathroom in the gym because, again, they don't change. So it's mainly the guys. You're right, Maggie. We're talking to 5, 6, 7-year-olds. The first week of school, basically, without doing it, teaching them how to go to the bathroom because when we got to go, we want to use a clean facility. It's never the case.
Wait, Dino, don't you have teachers-only bathrooms? Isn't that part of one of the perks?
Hey, listen, 100%, you're right. We usually go to the custodial office by the gym, but at times, like Perloff said, when he's in 9th grade, 4th period, he's got to go now. You got to go in there. So I try not to do number 2 in the school at all. I'll go to a restaurant at lunchtime and use the restroom if I really need to.
Wait, Dino, let me ask you a question.
Wow.
Do you really expect your kids to do gym class in 4th period and shower during the middle of the day? Like, that's not going to happen.
I'm not saying that, and it never did because kids in our county have never changed. I'm saying when I was in middle school and high school for phys ed, we were expected to change and shower. So, no, I wasn't saying that. I'm talking about just in general how the world and how phys ed and how athletics have changed. It's crazy.
Well, Dino, I think, for your aged kids that you're teaching and, as someone who has a 5-year-old, thank you for being that gym teacher that makes these kids run around because they need it, especially the boys, but the girls too. They're like feral at that age. But you're kindergarten to 5th grade. You're getting sweaty, but it's not like that super gross sweat like post-puberty. Like, that's different. Like, my kid sweats, he never smells. He's 5.
What kind of psycho would actually have gym in 4th period and be like, well, I'm going to go shower in the middle of a school day? Like, that's weird.
Well, that Dino said he did that when he was a kid.
I don't know. Because when I got to middle school, like, there were showers. They're like, you can shower after you play 23 minutes of volleyball or whatever. Nobody was actually sweating in gym class in high school.
No.
I think that'd be weird. Don't you think? Like, you would take off all your clothes, get naked in 3rd period and shower in front of, like, I just was not interested
hold
in
on,
that.
but didn't you do swimming in school? You never did that?
No.
Oh, we had to do a swim. We had to swim for part of the gym class. Manny's nodding his head. So
we
had
to swim too, but we had to travel to somewhere. We didn't have a swimming pool. Our school was insanely small.
Yeah. You swim, you got to change in the locker room. But again, this is not a thing for women.
They also,
you don't walk into a locker room feeling like you need to bring a razor blade. You just go in there and you modestly change maybe, but you don't feel like you're going to get jumped by Laura and Jessica.
Well, I imagine, though, being a woman in the locker room was kind of tough, too.
Well, you want to be modest about it generally. Yeah.
Based on the movies, that's where all the real trash talk happens.
No. That's where we have our pillow fights. And that's
Mean Girls. In the movie Mean Girls, like, they were vicious in that locker room. Just judgmental.
Gina George did her most damage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for women.
Yeah, Regina George, if you ran at her, you ran the other way.
Psychological warfare with women. Not really the physical stuff. It's not our style. 855-212-4227. We got an injury to a quarterback. You're going to want to hear about this. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes.
Lord, Marion High, where Perloff was a nerd. Ernest was a football star, his name was Herbert. But fast forward now, who's the real champ? Perloff's on the mic while Ernest is just a stamp. Oh, Ernest Pendleton thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up, can't keep a seat. the sky. He's the Houdini of the office space, gone without a trace, not a single face. Oh, Ernest Pendleton thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up, can't keep a seat. It's hard to deny, for missing work like it's pie in the sky. He's the Houdini of the office space, gone without a trace, not a single face. Oh, Ernest Pendleton thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up, can't keep a seat. Excuses than they.
Out lower, Marion High, where the nerds stayed low. Perloff was a bookworm, but Ernest ran the show. A football star with muscles and a
At lower Marion High, where Perloff was a nerd, Ernest was the football star, always being heard. But forget about the past, let's get to Pete, the guy who skips work like it's a track meet. Oh, Ernest Pendleton, thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up, his presence is beat. Pilates got a gift, it's called disappearing. When it's time for work, he's nowhere near it. Out sick, on leave, or on a special trip, but showing up on time, he just lets it slip. Oh, Ernest Pendleton, thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up, his presence is beat. Pilates got a gift, it's called disappearing. When it's time for work, he's nowhere near it. Out sick, on leave, or on a special trip, but showing up on time, he just lets it slip. Oh, Ernest Pendleton, thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete. Lower Marion, where the nerds stayed low. Perloff was a bookworm, but Ernest ran the show. A football star with muscles and a menacing glare, but little did he know, Perloff didn't care. Oh, Ernest Pendleton, king of the school. You thought you were tough, but who's the real fool? Perloff's on the airwaves, making people laugh, while you're just a tale from lower Marion's past. Ernest had the glory, the girls, and the fame, but Perloff had the brains, and he played a different game. Now he's on the radio with his nerdy charm, and Ernest is just a memory, no cause for alarm. Oh, Ernest Pendleton, king of the school. You thought you were tough, but who's the real fool? Perloff's on the airwaves, making people laugh, while you're just a tale from lower Marion's past. So here's a story about the nerd and the jock. Perloff's got the microphone while Ernest's in shock. Life's a funny thing, the table sure do turn, and now it's Perloff's victory while Ernest might just yarn.
Admit it, you gotta be a little panicked about what's going on with Brock Purdy and his shoulder. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I don't know how any 49er fan or anyone who had high hopes for the 49ers this season cannot feel a little something in their stomach about seeing Brock Purdy being day to day. Now, if you want to be out there and say, oh, you know, the 49ers will find a way, it's Kyle Shanahan, he can turn anyone into anything. Well, this has been a season that looks like it's, well, uneven, I think, is the generous way to put it. Spiraling down the tubes could be the non-generous way to put it, or maybe too hyperbole. But Brock Purdy now being limited and day-to-day with a shoulder Perloff is a 49ers fan's worst nightmare.
Yes, amongst all the other injuries. I think Nick Bosa is the worst nightmare, but Brock Purdy's the second worst nightmare. Because when Bosa's not out there, they have no chance of winning. Here's the question. Is this all going to be an excuse for the Niners? Because we've seen this season from them in 2020 after they reached the Super Bowl, everybody got hurt. And nobody was killing Kyle Shanahan for that because he had Nick Mullins at quarterback.
Sure.
So can Kyle Shanahan and the front office say, you know what? we're going to chalk this year up to injuries and we'll be back next year?
I think they need more than that, to be honest. And I think what they need is to do the thing that can be kind of painful, and people on the outside might say, oh, your Super Bowl odds will go down, or this makes you a little wounded. They've got to have some turnover here and try to get a bit younger.
A little bit of a rebuild?
I think a mini one. And I guess that would probably be doing some things that are pretty painful, which might be saying goodbye to George Kittle, maybe saying goodbye to Debo, who they've basically tried to trade the last 2 seasons anyway, if you believe those rumors. But they're going to have to get a bit younger in some of these spots. And it's the inevitability of what every team goes through. Look at what the Chiefs have had to do. They've had to reinvent themselves at times. Buffalo is doing that now. This Ravens team, this is an offense-first Ravens team. This is not your older brother's Ravens, who were the defensive Ray Lewis, Suggs Ravens. This is a different story. And I don't know why the 49ers would be immune to that. They're going to have to do something similar.
Yeah, which is, by the way, a major problem for the Ravens. They could use, by the way, Niners have redefined themselves. They used to be they went from the number one defense and a middling offense to the number one offense and a middling defense, just like the Ravens. The Niners put up tons of yards, and their defense has fallen year after year after year. But it's not good. They don't want it that way.
Can I ask you a bigger question about the 49ers that I'm not sure what the answer is? What's the identity of this team? Who are they? I knew what they were last year. Last year, I knew what they were. That was a Christian McCaffrey-focused offense and some explosives with Purdy to Ayuk, and then obviously George Kittle as well. I knew they wanted to run the ball. I knew what McCaffrey was in short yardage, and obviously the defense was a question all season long. So you were not getting your identity on the defensive side, no matter how good Bosa was. What's their identity now? Because I feel like I'm watching Purdy try to do a ton out there.
I totally agree. It's Purdy running around like a chicken with his head cut off, just trying desperately to make a play.
Okay, and here we are before week 11, and he's day-to-day because of the shoulder.
But I'll tell you one thing about it. I mean, they're actually number 2 in offense. I thought they were number 1. They were number 2 in offense of the Ravens. Like, they move the ball. They are not scary on defense. Unless Nick Bosa gets to the quarterback, it's nothing. They are just vulnerable to every single other position, including Fred Warner, whose numbers, according to every analytic, have fallen off the map. And their special teams cost them this season. I mean, they've lost at least 3 games to special teams. So they're just not a well-rounded team. Kyle Shanahan does one thing well. He coaches the offense. There is nobody to help with all this other stuff.
Okay, so Kyle Shanahan, the offensive wizard, I'll agree with you. I think there, 28 teams would switch out their coach for Kyle Shanahan. I get that. But if you're looking at the red zone scoring percentage, okay, so that's not field goals. Now we're talking about touchdowns only in the red zone. They're 26th in the league. That's not good.
Also, too, they're in the red zone all the time, right? I mean, they probably have more red zone opportunity.
They're not scoring.
Yeah, no, they're not at all.
Right. So, okay, good for you. You're in the red zone, but you're not scoring. And your kicker is shaky, and you've actually gone through 3 different kickers this year because of injury.
But you think about this team, the Niners. Remember the first Super Bowl run. Like, they had killers. Last Sunday, Geno Smith has basically a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Nobody thought the Niners were going to be able to stop them. There's just, honestly, if you double team Bosa, what is there on that team? Who do they have?
Well, that's why I asked what the identity is.
It's like, that's the problem. They needed to get DeMeco Ryans or Robert Saleh back in the building. I think the problem is their defense is not good now.
Well, the other part, too, is they can't close out games, and that's been the big thing.
Yes.
And we talk about Shanahan and Super Bowls and big games. Okay, put that to the side. This is regular season games where they can't close out division opponents when they have a lead. And that's not the identity, because I don't want to get so down on the 49ers. It's not like they're a 2-win team. They're 5-5, so they're right in the middle of things. But I'm at a loss for what their identity is. And I think that the mistake, and I'm not saying don't pay him. Pay Brock Purdy. He'll be your quarterback for the future. I'm all in favor of that. I just don't know if you build around Brock Purdy. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's not that he's not. I don't know if that. Do you build around Purdy like the Chiefs build around Mahomes or something like that?
They're not going to.
I don't think that's possible.
They're not paying Brock Purdy $60 million. There's no way that's happening.
But he's the next guy up, so why wouldn't he get that money?
It's just not happening. Because Kyle Shanahan is way too he just changes his mind at quarterback all the time.
So who's going to be the quarterback?
I think they'll get Purdy at a much more reasonable rate.
But every owner and every coach and GM wants to get their quarterback at a more reasonable rate. And does that ever happen?
Giants got Daniel Jones for 2 years.
Yeah, but Purdy is light years better than Jones.
Not this year. I mean,
Daniel Jones is fourth string. He can't even get on the practice field.
I don't. I think if the Niners do not make the playoffs, Purdy is not going to have a leg to stand on.
Okay, but the Dolphins probably didn't want to pay Tua. I can't imagine the Jaguars really wanted to pay Trevor Lawrence at the top of the market. No one wants to pay at the top of the market, but they all do. Jones,
Trevor Lawrence you're going to pay because he's Trevor Lawrence.
Jerry Jones probably didn't want to pay Dak Prescott at the top of the market. He got paid. They all get paid.
Yep.
So why would Brock Purdy be any different?
The market went crazy last offseason. I don't think it happens this year. I think, honestly, look at Shanahan's history at quarterback. He got to San Francisco, traded for Jimmy G, won at a high level, gave up on him multiple times, so fast. Drafted Trey Lance, even though Garoppolo was winning at a ridiculously high rate, said, let's bring in Trey Lance. Gave up on him almost immediately.
Yep.
Now he's got Brock Purdy in here, 2 major injuries in. You don't think he would give up on that guy too? He has no loyalty at quarterback. He's the most fickle offensive coach in the entire league.
Yeah, but unless you give me who's going to replace Brock Purdy, because here's the thing. Do you think CJ Stroud's getting paid? Did we just watch Jordan Love get paid? These guys are still getting paid.
CJ Stroud, yes. Of course he's getting paid.
So why wouldn't Brock Purdy get paid?
Because he's not as good as CJ Stroud.
Come on. Then we're talking about a guy who finished in the top 3 in MVP voting. I have a T-shirt in our office that was sent to us by a listener that says Brock Purdy for MVP.
32 GMs. Do you think one is taking Brock Purdy over CJ Stroud?
But it doesn't matter because
how does that not matter?
They'll all get paid because they all do. No one's taking Tua, and he got paid. Everyone gets paid.
The Niners would not have paid Tua. I think a lot of teams would not have paid Tua. Tua works in Miami. It does not work on most teams.
I just don't know why you would think all of a sudden this is going to change when we have so much evidence to the contrary, where every quarterback who comes up gets paid.
So
Jared Goff got paid. They all get paid.
Dak was 4 years at about $60 million. There's just no way the Niners are not going to look at it like that. I just don't. It'd be crazy.
It's going to be one of the $200 million contracts for Brock Purdy.
It's just going to be so much more reasonable than this Dak deal because, first of all, they have a lot of money. I think that they have a lot of leverage on him because he's coming off a disappointing season.
I think he has leverage on them.
Who
are you going to go to? Aaron Rodgers? Have fun.
They could go to Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins. They have a lot. Aaron Rodgers. They're going to say, do you want to play hardball? Hey, we've always wanted Aaron Rodgers here. Let's bring him in.
So here's another thing about the 49ers. Anytime they've tried to play hardball with any one of their players, what happens? The player gets paid. Brandon Ayuk got paid. Trent Williams got paid.
Yeah, Trent Williams, you should pay.
Christian McCaffrey got a raise. George Kittle got paid. Debo held in. He got paid. They all get paid. Bosa held out. He got paid. They all get paid. Why would Purdy be any different than any of these guys?
Because Purdy is not Nick Bosa. He's not Trent Williams is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Nick Bosa is a first ballot Hall of Famer. George Kittle is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And also Kittle is a tight end. They didn't have to pay him that much. McCaffrey is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and they didn't pay him that much either. $19 million?
They added on when they didn't even have to.
$3 million. We're talking about $60 million of cap space.
We're talking about the most important position on the field. And that's it. End of story. And I do think you're right that maybe Tua is the one exception, but he did ultimately get paid. And I also think that people would take Brock Purdy over Tua. I don't think you're right that Purdy has no market.
No market. I don't like CJ Stroud. It was the number 2 overall pick in the NFL, for better or worse, cares about that kind of thing. If you're a number 1, 2, or 3 pick, you're going to get chances through.
I know, but see, I thought that was the whole thing why people got mad at me. The Purdy party, the Purdy pack. All you guys got mad at me because I said it was the system around and it was the pieces around Brock Purdy. And I was told, no, Maggie, you're wrong. He's great, and he belongs in the MVP conversation. So now when it's time to get paid, why would it be any different?
Well, it's
now it's going to be he was Mr. Irrelevant. I thought we got past that.
He's totally a system quarterback in the sense that, you're paying Kyle Shanahan probably as much as any coach in the league because Kyle Shanahan can do it with anybody. You just can't pay him these crazy quarterback contracts because you'd gum up the works really badly. And come on, you don't think Brock Purdy's going to take a little less?
Why?
Because he's Mr. Irrelevant. He
Not
knows
anymore. He's Mr. MVP top 3 now.
he's definitely not Mr. MVP. No one's like, hey, here comes Mr. MVP. It's Brock Purdy. And he was 4th, by the way. It wasn't even first on his team in MVP voting.
So here's the thing then. Well, then why are we even talking about a contract extension after this year? Technically, they don't have to do that.
They might not. I mean, I'm not talking about it. I don't. I mean, listen. Like, is he going to do like Kyler Murray and have his agent write a strong letter to the owner?
It gets leaked immediately.
Well, okay. The issue with him is he was not a first round pick, so he has one less year on his deal. I agree with you. Like, they don't have a choice but to fill in some of these older guys. Like Kittle is holding on by a thread. He's the heart and soul of this team. Debo is done. That's not. In fact, I don't even know why the Debo Samuel I've seen. Like, I don't even know why he's on the field. Juwan Jennings is clearly their number 1 wide receiver right now. There's not even a competition for him. So if you cover that guy, I just don't know what the Niners have. But again, it's all going to be Kyle Shanahan's going to tell the owner injuries. What do you expect me to do? McCaffrey wasn't here. He just was not on the field. We watched the Niners. Did you see McCaffrey out there for 85% of the season?
No, I'm going back to the Purdy thing. I can't imagine a quarterback outside of like Trent Dilfer, who really got no respect as a quarterback playing for the Ravens, who your team would go to the NFC Championship game. You get hurt in that game, so it's a wash. But then you go to the Super Bowl, and your team's not going to pay you to stick around. Like, I just don't see what world that actually makes any kind of sense. Purdy's up. He's next. He's going to get paid next.
James Garoppolo. What's the difference?
Jimmy, by the way, did get a contract extension. So it might not have been top of the market, but he did get paid by the 49ers.
We got a huge deal when he got there. Did he get another? He might have got another second deal, but they gave up pretty big on him really fast.
I mean, but that's because they also drafted a quarterback in the top 3. I don't know if the 49ers would do something like that. They had to trade up 2 times to get up to number 3 to get Trey Lance.
Right, because they had given up on Jimmy G.
No, but like they thought they were replacing Jimmy G with their quarterback of the future for the next decade. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about not paying Purdy, but you're not saying draft a quarterback.
Well, the only reason they moved up is they totally lost faith in Garoppolo because he would kind of overthrow guys by 2 feet. And you ever notice when Garoppolo was out there, every wide receiver had to put his hands up because Garoppolo throws high all the time. Anyway, I just think Shanahan's pretty fickle. I think there's a lot TBD here. And I like Purdy too, by the way. I think he's more impressive physically. Like, the guy moves like crazy, but this is not what they want. They don't want him scrambling for 12 seconds on every play. And if they don't make the playoffs, I totally agree with the original point. There's going to be a reckoning here. They have to decide, how do we get younger?
Charean Williams is a writer for Pro Football Talk. She is a Hall of Fame voter. She's an award winner. She's got the goods, as they would say. I'm curious to get her thoughts on Purdy. Obviously, she covered the Dallas Cowboys for a long, long time and still does. She's going to join us next. You can still weigh in, by the way, on our side question today, which is not sports. What is the movie that you saw way too early, way too young? Maybe scared the bejesus out of you. Everyone remembers this one. 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We've got NFL questions that we need answered, so we're going to one of the best. Charean Williams, who is, I've been an admirer of from afar, Charean, for many, many years. Bill Nunn Award 2018 Hall of Fame voter, 30 seasons covering the NFL for Pro Football Talk Now. Charean, it's Maggie Gray, it's Andrew Perloff. I'll first start off with a thank you. If you had ever mailed it in one moment of your career, I'm likely not sitting here. So thank you so much for that. Not to, make it so personal, but thank you is my first thing. Second, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great, and thank you for that introduction. It is a pleasure to join you guys today, so thanks for having me on.
I have none of that sentiment. I'm an Eagles fan, so all things Dallas, I look at it sort of skeptically.
Yeah.
Well, we need someone who speaks fluent Jerry as well, Charean, and I think you're the Rosetta Stone here for Jerry Jones, and we'll talk about the Cowboys. First off, before Dak Prescott got hurt, okay, the team was bad. They weren't winning. What was the number one reason you think they were the reason why they were struggling this year? And I'm talking about before their starting quarterback went down.
Yeah. And I understand that. It's the off season of not doing anything, not improving that roster, and you let depth guys walk away. You look at Washington and the players that Dan Quinn took with him from the Cowboys to Washington, the Dorrance Armstrong types and those types of really depth guys on that defense. But it wasn't just the defense, it was the offense too, where they let guys walk away. Tony Pollard walks away. You let him go to Tennessee in free agency. You don't sign another running back. So you got a guy, an undrafted free agent, who's your starting running back. And by the way, Rico Dwaddle didn't start the season as your running back because you brought Ezekiel Elliott back, who it was obvious had nothing left in the tank last year in New England. You didn't bring in another receiver. You got no receivers. And Brandon Cooks gets hurt, who's your supposed number 2, who's probably better as a number 3 or number 4 receiver now where he is in his career. So you got no other weapons on that offense. The offensive line is not what it used to be. So all those things that I think added together, but yet the blame goes right back to Jerry Jones on not doing anything in the offseason to improve this roster with free agency. You can't just go in the draft and make your team better. It's the core. You've got to use the draft, obviously, but you've also got to supplement that with free agents. And they didn't. Eric Kendricks, I mean, he was out there as long as he was for a reason, and he's the best free agent they brought in this year. So I think Maggie, it all goes back to that offseason when they did absolutely nothing and thought, well, we won 12 games last year. We've got to re-sign Dak. We've got to re-sign Micah Parsons. We've got to re-sign CeeDee Lamb. So we're not going to spend any money this year because we got to re-sign those 3 guys. So are they going to spend money this offseason? That's my question. If they don't, this is going to be a really, really, really long rebuild for this team.
It's funny because there's this narrative now that, they were holding their cap space for next year. I know a lot of that has to go to Micah Parsons. That's a great question. So are they actually going to be all in next year, get a receiver, get a running back? Or will Jerry sort of do the opposite because he's gotten so much criticism, or is he going to stick to his guns?
Yeah, Andrew, it's a great question. And I think it's the $1 million question. And this season's lost. I mean, they're done. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to the postseason. They're going to move on from the coaching staff. And if I'm a coach that Mike Vrabel or whoever they're interested in this offseason, I'm asking, that's my first question. Like, what are we doing to rebuild this team? You've got some really great core parts. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's one of the best receivers in the NFL. Dak Prescott was number 2 in MVP voting to Lamar Jackson last year. He's a good quarterback in this league, one of the top quarterbacks in this league. Micah Parsons is one of the top edge rushers in this league. Yes, he's been hurt a lot of this year, but he's still one of the best edge rushers. Trevon Diggs, he hasn't played very well this year, but I think you still list him among the top cornerbacks. So what are we doing to improve the rest of the roster? Are we going out and spending money in free agency? And don't tell me you can't, because we all know you can. Or are you just going to try to rebuild this over some drafts? And if you're going to do that, it's going to take multiple drafts. You're not doing that in one draft. So, Andrew, I think that's the biggest question going into the offseason for the Cowboys is, are you going to spend money in free agency? Are you going to go out and help improve this roster? Get you a second receiver, get you a running back who can actually play, help the defensive tackle position has not been improved. They've tried, but it hasn't been improved over the last X number of years. You're going to try to improve at defensive tackle. So all those questions need to be asked by whoever is interviewing for this job to replace Mike McCarthy in the offseason.
Charean Williams is joining us, 30 seasons covering the NFL, now for Pro Football Talk, does a fantastic job and covered the Cowboys for a long time, still covers the Cowboys. And so we're starting there, Charean, but, you've heard it. You covered him when he was a Cowboy, the Deion Sanders dots that are being connected here. Now, Deion has said over and over again, he doesn't want to coach in the NFL, but no one believes it because the relationship between him and Jerry runs so deep. What's your thought and your stance on Deion Sanders being a part of the future of the Cowboys?
I think there's 10% or less chance that it happens. Deion would overshadow Jerry, which he's not going to have. I think if Deion goes to the NFL, I think he would want to go with his son. Well, the Cowboys, everybody's like, well, I saw Michael Irvin say it. He would bring Shador with him. Like Shador would say, I'm not going any place with the Cowboys. That's great if they hadn't signed Dak Prescott and made him the priciest, most expensive, highest paid player in NFL history right before the season started at $60 million a year. So you're going to have Shador sit behind Dak. Like, how's that going to work for the next 4 years? So are you going to play Shador and just sit Dak? Like, that makes no sense to me. And I think he would want his son. Now, if you hadn't re-sign Dak. I think it would be more plausible that would be the case, because that would get him a young quarterback on a young on an inexpensive contract, a rookie contract. I think all those things would have worked better for the Cowboys, and they could have rebuilt, frankly, pretty quickly. If you think Shedeur can play, like the rebuild would have been far quicker, because they would have had the $60 million a year you spent on Dak. Now he has a no trade clause, so you're not trading him, and the cap hit on that is prohibitive. So that's not happening. So all of that, I think, adds up to say, if they offered Dion the job, would he take it? Probably. His house is right by the Cowboys training facility. I mean, close. He still lives there. He still has his house. So I think he would take the job if Jerry offered it. So forget what he says there. I just don't think Jerry's going to offer it, and they're certainly not going to draft Shedeur to be their quarterback when they've paid Dak Prescott all this money. So I give it a 10% or less chance of happening.
All right, give us the percentage for Bill Belichick as the next Cowboys coach.
Again, I don't think that one's going to happen. Here's the reasons why. Jerry is cheap. He's not going to pay Bill Belichick what Bill Belichick should be paid. I don't think Jerry's going to pay a coach more than $5 million a year, maybe $6 million, but it's going to be far under $10 million. Well, Belichick's worth what, $20-25 million a year? Probably is what he wants. Would he coach the Cowboys for $5 or $6 million? I don't know about that. Number two, Belichick is not going to like all the tours coming through the building. Jerry Jones doing radio twice a week. All those. Jerry's not giving up any of that. Three, I think Belichick, again, like Dion, would become the face of the franchise. And Jerry's not going to want that. He is the face of the franchise, period, end of story. He's the face of the franchise. So I think it's going to be somebody who's not going to take the spotlight away from Jerry, where he's still the main guy, the face of the franchise. And by the way, Jerry's not giving up personnel. He's owner/GM. He's not going to give that up. Well, Belichick, any place he goes, is going to want some control of personnel. He won't have that in Dallas. I mean, you just look at what the Cowboys did signing Ezekiel Elliott. Mike McCarthy didn't want Ezekiel Elliott, and yet here he is, brought to the Cowboys, and it took a while before they could even sit him down and not have him as their starting running back. So all those things take place in Dallas, and you have to know that going in. And if you're not prepared for that and don't want that, you don't go to the Cowboys. Will they interview him? I think there's probably a chance they do interview him, but I don't think they hire him. So then you're going to ask me, Andrew, well, who are they going to hire? Again, that's a big. I think they'll have interest in Mike Vrabel. I think if a coach like Kevin Stefanski, I do think it'll be somebody who's been a head coach before. I do think I think Jerry likes the veteran coaches. I think he would probably interview Kellen Moore just because he knows Kellen Moore and likes Kellen Moore. You know, maybe he interviews Cliff Kingsbury because he's been a head coach before. Maybe that's a possibility. But you look at it, it was a year too late on Sean Payton. You weren't going to fire Bill Parcells to get Sean Payton, but, you know, Sean leaves to go to New Orleans, and then Bill only coaches one more year. So they were a year late on Sean Payton, and now they're going to be a year late on Dan Quinn, when he could have had Dan Quinn. He could have fired Mike McCarthy in the offseason and had Dan Quinn, and he didn't do that. So, it's going to be a huge question of who they get. And I think we go back to the big question that if a coach has other opportunities to go elsewhere, is he going to want to come here with all those things in play? And the biggest thing being, are you going to spend money in the offseason to upgrade this roster?
Charean Williams is one of the most distinguished journalists covering the NFL, 30 seasons. She's doing it now for Pro Football Talk and doing a great job. All right, enough Cowboys, although we could do that all day. Perloff and I have a big disagreement going, and maybe you can settle it for us, about the future of Brock Purdy in San Francisco. To me, I think he's just the next guy up, Charean, and he's going to get the big contract now because this is how it goes with quarterbacks. And Perloff is not so sure because, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Perloff, but...
Yeah, I think that after all these big contracts went south this offseason and the way the Niners are built, that Kyle Shanahan's pretty fickle. I don't think he's giving him Dak Prescott $60 million a year kind of contract for Brock Purdy.
Okay, let me throw this out there to you guys. Looks like Aaron Rodgers isn't going back to the Jets, right? We all think new coach, new GM. They're not going to want Aaron Rodgers. Would Kyle Shanahan have interest in Aaron Rodgers, thinking he can win with that roster? He had interest in Kirk Cousins, and could that be a possibility for them? Or maybe the Vikings, the Vikings move on from Sam? Would they be interested in trading Sam Darnold to the 49ers? But would they have any interest at all in Aaron? Now, I think Aaron Rodgers is done. I think he's finished. I think we see that this year, that that roster is really good. Like, there's no reason that they shouldn't be producing on offense. There's zero reason with all the weapons that they have. So if it's me, I say no. But would Kyle Shanahan, if he's still there, I think that's a question too. If he's still there, would he have interest in Aaron Rodgers?
Wait, well, you think Kyle Shanahan might be in his last year and possibly in his last year here?
It's been thrown out there. I think Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. And when you change coaches, you have to make sure that you're upgrading. It's same at quarterback. If you're changing a coach, changing a quarterback, you have to be sure that what you're changing to is better than what you had. Is San Francisco going to find a better coach than Kyle Shanahan? I don't know about that. Like, I'm not moving on from Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a top 10 coach in this league. I think you can win with Kyle Shanahan. I think they've shown they can win with. No, they haven't won a Super Bowl yet. I get that. And I get that's what they're aspiring to. But to me, he's still one of the best coaches in the NFL. And I don't know that there's many coaches that you can upgrade to who's going to be better than Kyle Shanahan. But what if they don't make the playoffs? What if they finish with 6 or 7 wins? Do the 49ers consider that? Maybe. They move on from Jim Harbaugh, for Pete's sake. So who knows what happens in this? Nothing surprises you anymore in this league with things like that happen. But would I do it? Absolutely not. But would the 49ers do it? I don't know that. Maybe. I don't know.
Charean Williams, you've just given us a lot to think about here. Charean, thank you so much for the time. Again, huge fans of yours, and continued success. And hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate that. What do you think?
Wow. It's interesting. Kyle Shanahan, that'd be a good hire for the Cowboys.
Think they could get him?
Well,
would he overshadow Jerry?
Another guy, she mentioned Kevin Stefanski, who EJ has been saying would be a great fit, the current Cleveland Browns coach. And what if Zach Taylor got fired in Cincinnati? That's another guy who's put up gigantic offensive numbers. I think all these teams need to hire offensive coaches. Like, I would not hire Vrabel there. I think Vrabel would be a good hire, but you need to get something going there offensively, because you have a lot of pieces on defense. I think a lot of guys could coach that defense.
We thought Mike Zimmer was going to coach it a little bit better, but to Charean's point, they didn't really add a lot of depth.
Nobody thought Mike Zimmer was going to coach that better. That was an obvious downgrade.
Well, but Mike Zimmer had a reputation of being able to stop the run. Anyway, that's not the point. Yeah. The point is, I would rather have Mike Vrabel, though, than Cliff Kingsbury.
It depends which team
Kellen
you are.
Moore.
Do you have a young quarterback who you need to develop?
No, they have Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I don't need to see the 2021 Tennessee Titans in my I don't want a quarterback throwing 17 touchdowns. So if you had Caleb Williams in Chicago, I would not hire Vrabel, right? Do you agree with that?
No, because I think that Chicago needs more than just a skilled play caller.
I want a Sean McVay. I want a Kyle Shanahan. These are the guys. I want a Zach Taylor. I want these offensive geniuses. I want Kevin O'Connell.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think Mike McCarthy's a bad play caller. There are times when McCarthy can be a head-scratching head coach in terms of timeouts and other things like that. But as far as play calling, I don't think he's a bad play caller at all.
But if you really want to go for the gold, you got to take a risk on a Sean McVay. You got to find the next level guy. McCarthy's fine, Vrabel's fine. But if you really want to build a team, I think McVay is the model, or Shanahan's the model.
Andrew Bogish is here with us. Headlines abound on this Thursday. What's up?
And they're all sponsored by Mint Mobile. Switch and get half off unlimited premium wireless at mintmobile.com/score. It might not be on all of our TVs tonight, but plenty of people will watch Steelers-Browns on Thursday Night Football. Mike Tomlin's team trying to stay hot against a second division opponent in 5 days. Less time, but full prep for his Steelers.
We don't default to base menus and things of that nature, particularly when you're playing someone that is familiar with you as Cleveland is with us. It is worth the trouble to ponder what's appropriate to run and what's not.
Ponder away.
Sometimes, Coach Tomlin Like, he loses me. Does it lose anyone else? Or are you with him every step of the way when he's talking in these type of coded words?
No one's ever understood Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's intentional. He's talking gobbledygook. I thought that was, everyone knows that. You ever heard Gio CBS Sports Network, Boomer and Gio?
Yeah.
He does the best Tomlin thing because he can follow the nonsensical sense.
It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know who's good at that too? Andy Reid. He puts out a lot of words that don't mean a single thing at all.
The word salad?
The better the coach, the more he can say without actually saying anything. And Tomlin's a king at that.
Tomlin facing a Browns team that's already upset the Ravens this season, and Mother Nature might be an issue in Cleveland tonight. Temps in the 30s, wind, some rain, maybe some snow, all in the forecast. Gino Auriemma is now the winningest coach in NCAA basketball history. All divisions, men and women, don't matter. Last night's 85-41 rout of FDU, victory number 1,217, breaking Auriemma's tie with former Stanford coach Tara Vanderveer. Diana Taurasi, one of the 60-plus former players who played their own way to be in attendance.
You told me all the things I needed to hear to make me a better person, a better teammate, a better basketball player.
This UConn program had one winning season before Auriemma took over in 1985. There was a time when the Clippers could not win in their new building. Now they don't lose there.
Does James want this dance with 6 to shoot? Crosses over. Step back with 4. A straightaway 3. Swirls in. Harden from downtown, and the Clippers take a 97-79 lead.
As heard on Clippers radio, James Harden 24 in a 104-93 decision over the Magic. The Clips have won 6 in a row at home. Tigers lefty Tarek Skubal, Braves lefty Chris Sale, this season's Cy Young Award winners. Skubal, the unanimous pick in the AL. MVPs handed out tonight. And I'm not sure which agency this would fall under, but I demand an investigation. A crypto entrepreneur just paid $6.2 million for a piece of art, a piece of conceptual art, a banana duct taped to a blank wall. It's called Comedian. This piece of art first debuted at Art Basel in Miami in 2019, caused such a stir then, including someone taking the banana off the wall and eating it, that they removed the piece. But now, bidding began at $800,000, ended at $6.2 million, and what Justin's son actually paid that for is a certificate giving him the authority to tape a banana to a wall and call it Comedian.
This is my favorite thing ever. I think this is the most important work of art in 50 years. I love this. I stared at this picture of this banana taped to the wall for a good half hour yesterday. It's brilliant.
What did you find in that banana?
It's just like, it is such a deconstruction of art. Like, it's just so next level and brilliant. I just love it. And the fact that the owner has to replace a banana on a regular basis, I just think, I don't know. It just like strikes a nerve with me. I think it's awesome.
I mean, this might be just a little over my head. This is when I look at the art world and I'm like, oh, you guys are all full of bleep. This is all one big wink and a nod, and you're like getting over on the public.
I think it's sort of, that's embedded in the message of the art too. Like, it's sort of a wink and a nod to how ridiculous this whole thing is. There's just something cool about it. I don't know what it is.
I got to look it up. I haven't seen it. So you have to keep replacing the banana?
Yeah, that's the thing. The owner has to replace a banana.
I think that's where my issue lies in all of this. Like, if I was rich, I'd probably have art. It seems like the thing you're supposed to do. So, like, if you want to tell me that you just spent $6 million on like a Picasso that we just found somewhere, I get it.
Right.
This guy paid $6 million to be the guy that can tape a banana to a wall.
I mean, to be fair, no one else thought it up, so I guess that there's that. But I thought that art is supposed to move you in a certain way. What does a banana duct tape to a wall do?
Well, actually, I mean, like the Picasso or Mona Lisa, like you look at those paintings, like art is important because of the meaning it describes. Like, there's nothing like, a lot of people look at a Picasso and be like, what the heck am I looking at?
Right.
Like 98% of people don't
it's
even
not
understand.
science.
Yeah. Like, there's no emotional reaction to a Cubist painting. It's just like sort of deconstructionism, and it's smart. If you walked into a house with all this rich art and there was a Monet and a Picasso and a Van Gogh, the first thing you're going to see is that banana taped to the wall.
Right, but
so it's a conversation piece.
It's not just a conversation, it's the conversation piece, but it's also just like, because it just sort of makes a commentary on the entire art world. It's kind of brilliant.
But what's the conversation beyond, so how often you change that banana?
And you paid $6 million
I don't know. There's just something visually striking about it, too. I love it.
By the way, this is going to be in some rich person's house, and you know what? It's going to probably be some maid or something who's changing the banana. It's not even going to be the dude.
I mean, what if they're out of town and the banana goes brown and mushes into the wall?
Then you get fruit flies. This thing's stupid.
But let me ask you a question. You guys have seen Mona Lisa, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what's so special about that? There's nothing uniquely special. It's just a portrait.
There's supposed to be some mystery. What's the smile about? The curvature in her lips. What does she know that you don't know? Her eyes follow you all over the room. It was painted in the 1500s.
Right.
There's
But
certain things I can understand about.
One of many paintings that look exactly like that. There's just like the art becomes it evolves beyond what the actual work is, and it's becomes like a thing unto itself. It also, I don't know. It's just the simplicity of it. I like it.
I know I did not elbow 500 French people at the Louvre to get a close look at the Mona Lisa for you to say, what's the big deal about the Mona Lisa?
EJ was just there.
But I mean, as a painting, it's not, the big deal about the Mona Lisa is not like it's the best painting of all time. There's just much more going on. Like if you read the history of the Mona Lisa, it could easily have been discarded as any other work. Like if you had 50 paintings up on the wall, you might not pick that one. It's just
right. So
a portrait.
Right. Its value now is because it's the Mona Lisa. It's like
It's become a thing.
Right.
Just like the banana on the wall has become a thing.
It's not just like the banana.
Well, I can tell you, Pierre and John Paul online at the Mona Lisa thought it was real important.
I mean, I get like the Sistine Chapel, like that stands out. And even I get like the Impressionist paintings, but a lot of paintings that are super, I can't be the only one who thinks this, that are super expensive and fancy. Like a lot of people look at them and be like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get the big deal.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think it just paying $6 million to have authority over a joke about paying millions of dollars for art.
It's a little meta.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so meta. I love every second of it.
It's too meta.
Can we just go to your apartment and just tape stuff to the wall? We can do this.
No, because like we have white walls and the tape will
Need painter's tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys have to buy that stuff that cleans white walls?
Mm-hmm. All the time. I've got a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah. So no, I don't really need a banana on the wall. Plus, I
want to admire someone else's banana.
Yeah. The greatest
came out wrong.
Greatest album
Mark
cover
that.
of all time is Andy Warhol's Velvet Underground banana cover. You guys know that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just something cool about it. You guys didn't see this and be like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
No, I saw the headline of $6.2 million. He got angry. Then I read that he actually just gets a certificate. He got angrier, and here we are.
Here we are. Bogus is pissed off.
Well, you guys remember when about 4 years ago, crypto art or like whatever, what were those called?
NFTs.
NFTs.
You bought one.
I bought one. I don't even know if I still have that. What was it?
Perloff bought
no
one
one
of
does.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, it was
wearing
beautiful.
a jacket that's got flowers on it. You don't even know where it is because I don't think there's anything to have.
I think he had
There's no there.
I think he had a wreath around his head too, right? I don't know what happened to it.
Your banana take makes a little more sense now at this. Bryce, what you think
I think
is
it was
art?
something where I tried to pay with Amex and they only took Visa, and I don't know if I ever got that NFT. But that thing is paying for my kids' college.
Definitely.
Oh, sure.
Definitely.
Sure. Okay, lots more to do, including a coaching candidate that really came out of the blue yesterday. We'll tell you about that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Dependable Player of the Week is sponsored by Depend and the Prostate Cancer Foundation, reminding you that health is a long game and screening for prostate cancer easier than ever. Learn more at depend.com. All right, Dependable Player of the Week.
All right, I think I have an idea.
You got it?
Yeah.
I remember EJ has tends to do Dependable Player of last night often.
No. I'm going to go, I think you went to women's hoops. I mentioned before, South Carolina has now won 43 games in a row. They haven't lost since they lost to Iowa in the Final Four in 2023. Problem is it feels like it's kind of a newish team. There's some turnover from last year's team. So would he go with dependable? They're 5-0. You get what the tree I'm barking up here, Pearl? Maybe Paige Beckers. Maybe he just goes with UConn with Gino Auriemma breaking the record last night.
Was it AZ Fudd, the big breakout? I'll go Jared Goff. How about that?
That was closer there.
Both
it's
football?
Yeah, we're going football because
Okay.
Perloff complained about Dyson Daniels, Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah,
so
Alex is Defensive Player of the Year. That's
decade,
Alex from
I
the
thought.
back's first
All
call
decade.
ever on the show. He's like, Dyson Daniels can be defensive player of the year. That's not happening. Go ahead, EJ.
Anyway, the dependable player of the week this week is Carson Beck, who threw for 347 yards in a gotta-have-it game for the Georgia Bulldogs. Beck's been much maligned. He hasn't been quite dependable, quite frankly, for most of this year. But in what was the biggest game of the season, he was throwing ropes all around the field. A big game against a great defense, so I'm giving Carson Beck dependable player of the week. They came back from down 10-0 the first quarter to win 31-17. Go Dogs.
Will they cover the 42 against UMass this weekend? But the Georgia situation is fascinating one to watch, right? Because Beck played a lot better. And if somehow he got whatever was between the ears or something, the lack of confidence or whatever that was plaguing him earlier in the season, don't they have to now be thought of as the favorite to be the national title champion?
I think they're, what is it, Ohio State 1, Georgia 2?
No, Oregon 2.
No, the odds?
It was Ohio. I thought it was Ohio State, Oregon, and then Georgia I thought was 3.
Oh, they're 3. Okay. But they were, forever, they were sticky at number 2. Yeah, I mean, why not Alabama, though?
Why not Alabama?
Because I just think Alabama, if Jalen Milroe is going to run for 200 yards, they could be right. It just feels, it's so hard. It's so hard to tell. I do think that the one caveat, you've been talking about this more, and I'm going to steal it from you. The cold weather games in the first round, maybe that guts them. I just can't see Penn State, who can't be top 10 teams, knocking off of Georgia and Alabama, and they all seem like they're destined to play in the first round. So
honestly, the Beck thing is the Beck situation and what's going on with Ohio State's offensive line are the two most interesting things to me. Two of the most interesting things to me right now. Ole Miss and Florida playing a very interesting game this weekend in the Swamp as well. Quickly, Adrian is in Maryland. Adrian, we were talking about Brock Purdy and whether or not it's a given that he gets the next big quarterback contract for the 49ers. What do you got?
I don't think it's a given that he's going to get that big contract. I think he's going to get that Daniel Jones contract, about $40 million a year. Shanahan, he's finicky. Yeah, he did it with Jimmy G. You know, he went out and got Trey Lance, so he's not afraid to just plug somebody in and let him play. Just like you said last year, Maggie. You said Brock Purdy's not that it guy. He's not going to change the game for you. He's the type of guy that's you're going to put him in the system, and he's going to run that system for you.
Same about a Pro Bowls as Justin Herbert.
Right. And Pro Bowls don't mean anything these days, right? All they do is play flag football.
I'm just saying, though, he's had a season that would put him in the top of quarterbacks in terms of production. And I was called a hater last year because I said that Brock Purdy, I didn't think he was an MVP candidate. I thought it was more McCaffrey.
And McCaffrey ended up being higher voted.
But it's not like Brock fell out of the running. He was right there. They're within an eyelash of winning the Super Bowl. And now all of a sudden people want to bring up Mr. Irrelevant. Now all of a sudden he's not, actually the secret sauce for the 49ers. I think you guys are being disingenuous. Adrian, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think Daniel Jones is a good model.
He's so much better than Daniel Jones, guys.
Well, the point being like some kind of cost-controlled contract. I mean, maybe you're right. They have paid everyone, but that's a lot.
Okay, lots more to do, including someone on the hot seat.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Could we have a surprise NFL coach on the hot seat? Welcome to the show, Maggie. Great, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you. We know the suspects who are probably in danger of being fired at the end of the year, Perloff, right? Mike McCarthy in Dallas, Doug Peterson, Jacksonville Jaguars. These guys might want to start looking elsewhere. But I'll speak for myself. I did not think that Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, was on that list or in that category at all. Did you?
I'm not shocked to hear that. But, they have there's a media beef going on in San Francisco everyone knows about, where Kyle Shanahan's insulting this reporter named Grant Cohn, and Grant Cohn is saying you have to fire him now immediately. Other media people have taken up this big topic, is he on the hot seat? That's like a thing on San Francisco media.
right.
Because there's a lot of
I didn't know
disappointment
that.
with the season. You know about the Grant Cohn thing, right? Like, watch any press conference. It's a war going on where Shanahan's like, you're a buffoon. And Grant Cohn gets on social media and says, you got to fire this guy immediately. He's taking a lot of heat right now
Well,
from the
interesting.
media. And I think from some fans who are super disappointed in this team.
Well, listen, we understand that New York Jets owner Woody Johnson definitely reads social media and then acts accordingly. I don't know if Jed York does that in San Francisco, but let's put a little bit more of a finer point on this, if we will. Okay, so Charean Williams, who has been covering the NFL for 30 years, okay, not a hot taker, okay? Like, this is someone who is as respected as anybody in the industry. We asked her a question about Brock Purdy and about whether or not Brock Purdy is in line to no doubt get a record-breaking contract, just like every other quarterback, good quarterback, when their time is up. Here's what Charean first had to say about Purdy and whether or not he might even be with the 49ers next season.
Would Kyle Shanahan, if he's still there, I think that's a question too. If he's still there, would he have interest in Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, let's play the Purdy one first, Alex.
To me, he's still one of the best coaches in the NFL, and I don't know if there's many coaches that you can upgrade to who's going to be better than Kyle Shanahan. But what if they don't make the playoffs? What if they finish with 6 or 7 wins? Do the 49ers consider that? Maybe. I mean, they move on from Jim Harbaugh, for Pete's sake. So who knows what happens in this league? I mean, nothing surprises you anymore in this league with things like that happen.
Okay, so that was Charean. She joined us last hour, so that's her talking about Kyle Shanahan. She wouldn't be surprised. And if they are 5-5 right now, if it ends up being a 6 or 7 win season, is he suddenly out the door?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. And even Charean didn't say it was definitely going to happen. I'd be shocked if they got rid of him. But I'll tell you right now, he would have 16 offers in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. He might be a little difficult. He's kind of hard-headed. Isn't that his reputation? He yells at players a lot. I think he's quite stubborn in his way. But, man, that guy is a good offensive coach. So I think everybody would line up to get him.
Okay, but wouldn't that then be the 49ers making the same mistake again?
Yeah.
And listen, Jim Harbaugh, I think, wears out his teams a little bit. And it was a very obvious step for him to go to Michigan. It made a lot of sense. Went to Michigan. They needed someone to help revive the program. And that seemed pretty obvious. There's not an obvious Kyle Shanahan move to me. Sure, a lot of teams want to have him. But wouldn't this just be the 49ers making this a same mistake they made with Jim Harbaugh?
Well, let me ask you this. Why is Zach Taylor on the hot seat? He's just coming off 2 great seasons. Well, no, I'm sorry. Last year, I thought it was pretty good. He had a winning season without Joe Burrow. The year before that, he was a Super Bowl threat. And now he's on the hot seat. Because I'll tell you why this is even a topic, because the expectations for some teams are so gigantic. If you don't have a winning season when you are an odds-on favorite to make the Super Bowl, the coach takes the brunt of that. And it's a fast-moving league. It's ridiculous. Yeah, of course it's ridiculous to put Kyle Shanahan on the hot seat, but look around the NFL right now. Things are moving so fast.
I understand that. I just thought it didn't move as fast for guys who have at least proven that you will be a contender every year when he is your coach outside of devastating injury years.
I mean, listen, Sean McDermott's won the AFC East every year since he's been there, basically, and you thought he should be on the hot seat last year.
Definitely, but they haven't even made the Super Bowl. See, like there's different degrees of getting over the hump, and Kyle Shanahan at least getting to the Super Bowl with 2 different quarterbacks, none of which were the caliber of Josh Allen, let's be honest, to me, doesn't warrant a trip to the hot seat. For Sean McDermott, you have to wonder about the getting over the hump part of it because he's not been able to be Andy Reid in a big moment.
That's absolutely true. Like, Kyle Shanahan is so close to Andy Reid. Like, I think he'll eventually get over, but Andy Reid was Kyle Shanahan forever.
Yeah.
Kept getting to the brink of it and falling apart late in games. How about Nick Sirianni? He made a Super Bowl, and he was most definitely on the hot seat.
Yeah, but see, the thing about Sirianni or even Doug Peterson with your Philadelphia Eagles, it almost felt like the great years maybe were an anomaly, or that the Shanahan consistency is, I think, the thing that separates him. Sirianni hasn't been there long enough to be like so consistent.
Right. Except that Sirianni's record is outrageously good,
sure.
Which is so funny about Sirianni.
So is LaFleur's.
Yeah,
LaFleur's record is awesome, and he hasn't made it to a championship.
Yeah, but I think...
one against Tom Brady, and they lost.
He is, another really highly thought of coach. Yeah, no, it'd be crazy. But I was thinking about this. Say say it wasn't really bad, and the vibes were off. We have heard inklings of the vibes being off in San Francisco. It makes sense with all the contract issues, a lot of big personalities there. So Debo's strangling the long snapper. Like, there's a lot going on there. I can't imagine like what he would do to the coaching market, because everyone's talking about Dion and Bill Belichick now, maybe Vrabel. Forget all those guys. Like, I think he would, half the league would offer him. I think guys would fire their coach. Take New England with Drake May. They would fire Gerard Mayo in 3 seconds to get Kyle Shanahan to mentor Gerard Mayo. Or like, I'm telling you, the Eagles lose in the playoffs. You don't think they would want Kyle Shanahan? He'd be so hot. It'd be crazy.
I just didn't think that Shanahan was anywhere close to the hot seat.
The one thing I will say is that, we've had some calls from San Francisco and Leland from Sacramento, of course. Like, there seems to be anger around this guy.
Furious.
Yeah, and I guess from our standpoint, we're so far away, and some of us root for some terrible teams, me being the Jets. Like, you look at Kyle Shanahan's success and say, okay, even though you may think he's a choker, you may think he can't get it done.
You'd kill for that.
Yeah, your team is right on the cusp, right? So, like, one day you'll probably crack through, but maybe for these fans, it's just become untenable where, like, not only we be getting so close and we're missing out, now we're not even close. Now we're 5-5. Now we're back to the middle. Like, are we on the decline? We were mentioning Maggie, a rebuild. Like, do you think Niner fans want to hear about a rebuild when you were just in the Super Bowl in overtime with Patrick Mahomes? Like, that might not sound that appealing to them.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be a total tear down but you have gotten the team has gotten older. And you see it by the amount of injuries. Now, young guys are getting hurt and old guys are getting hurt. But I think if you have the right leadership, though, don't you feel like you're going to weather these kind of storms? But again, you put the mirror right back on me. I always say Sean McDermott should be fired. I wanted Jim Harbaugh, but I think for Shanahan, at least he's proven he can get to the Super Bowl twice.
One of the criticisms of Shanahan is, how are you even in the defense has really declined? Are you even in those meetings? The special teams is a hot mess. Are you even in on those meetings? Are you just an offensive coordinator? Like, I've heard that a lot. Like, why isn't he taking responsibility for the special teams? And that's a real issue with Kyle Shanahan. I think, again, he reminds me so much of Andy Reid. Andy Reid ran into all these things, and eventually they gave up in Philly, and he figured it out in Kansas City. And Kyle
he
Shanahan,
also got the best quarterback since Tom Brady.
But I think he became a better coach, too. He became a better game manager. Shanahan's obviously got some famous blown games. I think last year's Super Bowl when he took the ball first. Come on. He's going to get better and better and better. He's what is he, 45? How old is Shanahan?
Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Kevin is in Oregon, has a question. I'm not sure if it's for me or for Perloff, Kevin.
Well, it's for both of you guys. But first of all, you were talking about the Mona Lisa. My memory is my 3-year-old son had a complete meltdown tantrum when we were in the Louvre, so I picked him up. We ran in and looked at the Mona Lisa for 2 seconds and then ran out of the Louvre completely embarrassed.
Oh, my gosh. A 3-year-old at the Louvre? Terrible idea.
Yeah, well, it's probably a bad idea. My question is, I keep hearing the term system quarterback. Now, don't all offensive coordinators have systems that they use, that they try and utilize the strengths of their quarterback and their skill players? I mean, it's not like that quarterbacks are in the huddle going, hey, you run a post, you run down 15 yards and cut to the sideline, and you run out into the left flat. I mean, what is a system quarterback?
Perloff, this is really your area of expertise. Kevin, thank you.
You haven't read one of my 3 books on the system quarterback.
His thesis.
The ultimate system quarterback, obviously, guy who, it's going to sound mean, but isn't physically like superior, but just so good at running the system that he wins a bunch of Super Bowls. Joe Montana. Like, Joe Montana could have gone to Arizona. Well, it wasn't Arizona at the time. The St. Louis Cardinals, and not been good, but he was perfect for the West Coast system. And that's what Brock Purdy is kind of, people say. Now, Brock Purdy runs around a lot, so he actually breaks out of the system. He is very, very mobile. So I don't know if you can be super mobile in the system quarterback. When Purdy's at his best, he's actually running Kyle Shanahan's system, but the O-line has been bad. So he hasn't been able to be a good system quarterback. But anyway, everyone knows what that means. Like Cam Newton in Carolina was not a system quarterback because he would run so much. Josh Allen is definitely not a system quarterback. In fact, he's the opposite of a system. He is the system.
Well, that's Cam Newton's line.
Yeah.
I am the system.
Yeah.
It's all built around me. And sometimes the quarterback's like the sun, and you just got to build everything to revolve around them.
Right.
And sometimes the quarterback's like another planet that revolves around the sun.
Sometimes it's best when the quarterback is just running exactly what the coach has. If the play's not there, just throw it out of bounds immediately. Like, that is a good system quarterback. But then there's some guys who just try and make a play. For example, EJ roots for Cam Ward at the University of Miami.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate non-system quarterback.
Yeah.
He blows up the system every single play, and that's why I think he might fall in the NFL draft.
Well, it might be a little harder to have success in the NFL because in
if you
college
hold
you
on-
can get away with it when you're 22 and you're physically superior and all of that.
Yeah, Shador, by the way, the presumed number 1 pick, Shador Sanders, he holds on the ball for about 20 seconds. He's like, I'm going to make a play. You're right. You can't. That's like the opposite of a system. A system is a guy who thinks he's so good he can do everything. Like
Tom
Josh
Brady.
Allen.
Tom Brady was the system.
Yeah,
You always say.
Tom Brady was system. Peyton Manning was not exactly a system because he brought his own system. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure how we got on this. Brock Purdy, it is a real question for the Niners. We know it. It's always been there. Is it Brock Purdy or is it the weapons? Is it Kyle Shanahan?
See, but here's the thing that changed when Charean joined us. Charean Williams, who's been covering the league for 30 years, when she was saying, well, would you be surprised if Kyle Shanahan is even there next year? And also kind of said that about Brock Purdy, too. You mentioned yesterday one of your places, a future Aaron Rodgers landing spot could be San Francisco. Charean also thought maybe San Francisco. She also mentioned Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
She also mentioned Kirk Cousins, who's under contract now in Atlanta, of course.
But Cousins could be got.
Right. So it's kind of like interesting to me that you're telling me 2 years after being in overtime, a play away, a third down conversion potentially away from beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you would now have a new head coach and a new quarterback? And by the way, what makes you stop there? Is John Lynch on the hot seat too? Like, where does this end? So you're telling me 2 years after that, you would be getting rid of the trifecta, the triumvirate of any football team, your general manager, your coach, and your quarterback. They'd all be gone?
I can imagine that because I saw it in Philadelphia.
Not the GM.
Well, the GM stayed, but the GM had gotten fired earlier when Chip Kelly took over and he just hung around the building and got rehired. But generally, though, Doug Peterson was gone in 2 years. Carson Wentz was gone in 2 years. And Sirianni got Jalen Hurts to the Super Bowl. Sirianni is lucky to be there right now. He was almost fired this last offseason. And I don't know how long Hurts will be there. Howie loves the new quarterbacks.
Man, but I mean, at least Carson Wentz, he got hurt. Purdy, he's week to week. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But then he had 2 healthy seasons.
Purdy hasn't shown you, he's day-to-day now with the shoulder, but has Purdy warranted this? Kind of feels like disrespect.
Jimmy G made the Super Bowl in 2019. It was very clear by 2022 that they had completely moved on.
Well, Jimmy G had a turnover problem that Brock Purdy doesn't have. Jimmy G was flawed in ways that Brock Purdy is not.
I don't know. Remember then Jimmy G got back in when Lance got hurt, and he was great, actually. I think
they went with Brock when he got hurt, and they said all along they thought Brock was the best guy in the room.
At that point, they'd already said goodbye to Jimmy G 4 times.
That's
they had to. In 2022, Garoppolo had 103 ratings, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. He was awesome.
Okay, but that's not the story of Jimmy's career. He's not known as a guy who doesn't turn the ball over. It's the total opposite.
His interceptions aren't that bad. Jimmy G was just, in big moments, he missed some big throws.
855-212-4227. Okay, so Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, could they both be gone? That's kind of crazy to me. Coming up, we're going to play a little game called Do You Believe It? Got some very famous people saying some very ridiculous things. Are they true? We'll tell you next. Okay, Perloff and I absolutely obsessed with Prize Picks because it's the most fun daily fantasy game that you can play. It's the best place to get real money sports action when you watch football. Combine that with the NBA. And it's so simple to use. What do? Download the app, the Prize Picks app. It's on my home screen. I love it. You pick 2 or more players across any sport. Then all you do is pick more or less on their projection. And you could win up to 100 times your money.
Okay, I made a mistake last night. I listened to Alex in the back. He was telling me Dyson Daniels is one of the best players in the NBA. So I had over 22.5 points and rebounds. He had 21. Thanks, Alex. Luckily, I'm not going to listen tonight. I'm getting right back on the bandwagon. That's the best thing about Prize Picks. You have a tough call because someone gave you some bad advice. It doesn't matter. There's a new day today, daily fantasy. It's awesome. And Prize Picks even invented the flex pay, so you can still cash out if one of your picks doesn't hit. All you do is download the Prize Picks app and use the code MNP and get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win. Say you listened to Alex and you lost. You don't even need to win to get the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. It's Alex proof, you might say. PrizePicks, run your game, must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff show. A lot of strange headlines in NFL and college this week, Maggie, but do we buy them all?
It's always the big question. Are people trying to manipulate us, lie? Not just you and me, the public. This is why we're here. We try to sift through all the garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people distrust anything that is said in a podium. That's just probably a lie.
Yeah.
We're
Generally?
talking, yeah. I don't care what field you're in. If somebody has actually set up a podium and put a microphone, the person behind that microphone is probably lying. Tom Brady admitted it. It's all lies.
Except for us. We always tell the truth 100% of the time, and that's what makes us a little bit different. But we do like to play a little game around here sometimes called Do You Believe It? And of course, we need a little game show music behind it. Okay, first Do You Believe It comes from Jets wide receiver Davante Adams, who was talking yesterday about does he regret being traded from the Raiders to the Jets, considering the Jets season is now basically over.
No, I don't live my life like that. It's you'll drive yourself crazy, you know. Hindsight's always 20/20. So you can sit here and look at it now and say, oh, I could have maybe stayed there, would have been more comfortable, wouldn't have had to move and all that stuff. But for me, it's about going with my gut in my life, and that's how I make my decisions. I live with them.
That was on the Up and Adams show with our pal Kay Adams. Do you believe it that Davante Adams does not regret wanting to be traded to the Jets?
I don't think he's living in regret because of the place he left. I think he wanted out of the Raiders, the team-wise. I think he loved living in Vegas. I don't think he loved moving to New Jersey, obviously. But I think because he was going from such a train wreck to another train wreck, I don't think he's filled with regret over that move.
I do not believe this. I think he probably feels like he was sold a bill of goods by Rodgers. I don't know if Rodgers is being honest with him about maybe how hurt Rodgers is himself and how much he's not feeling like himself. And I think why he also regrets this is because there are times when it doesn't look like he and Aaron Rodgers have ever met before, let alone played all those seasons together in Green Bay. So, no, I do not believe that Davante Adams has no regrets about wanting to get traded to the Jets.
But do you think he has any regrets about leaving the Raiders?
So he said before he didn't want to be chasing something, which is why he had not asked for a trade previously from the Raiders.
But then
now he's going to have to go to another place. Like, he
Yeah.
can't stay in Jersey while Rodgers goes to Tennessee or something.
Yeah,
So he's going
when-
to chase Rodgers around?
It went so far south in Vegas. So that was like he was getting portrayed in a negative light week after week with some comment or something. Like that couldn't have lasted. Now he's just one of many messy things in New York. He was the problem in Vegas. I think it's actually a better situation. At least we're not saying anything negative about Davante.
We're not saying anything about him at all. He's not doing anything.
That's better than before.
Anonymous. Okay, our next Do You Believe It? This one went to Adam Schefter. Sources telling Adam Schefter that Ray Lewis may be a candidate to be the new Florida Atlantic University head coach, the FAU Owls. Pearl, do you believe it? Ray Lewis, the Hall of Famer, could be their head coach.
Well, I do believe that Ray Lewis could be a head coach in a second. I mean, that makes perfect sense. He's the inspirational guy. He's a football savant. He's a genius at football. I've actually seen games where he was calling both sides. He was calling the offensive plays 2 seconds before. Nobody can see the field like Ray Lewis. So, yeah, I could totally believe it. I don't think this particular case happens, but if he wanted to coach, I could totally see someone taking a try.
Okay, I don't know if I believe this because I think for as positive as people are about Ray Lewis, there's still this baggage of what happened back in 2000 when he was found guilty of obstruction of justice in connection with a murder. I mean, it's serious stuff, and I'm not trying to bring the show down. I'm thinking that doesn't, when you're being put in a position of authority, that's very different than just being a football player on a football team, right? Now you're in charge of young men, impressionable young men. Maybe he can say, learn from my mistakes, and maybe there's a positive message there. But I feel like you're going to have to answer to that for people who are like college presidents and people who are not just sycophant sports fans.
College presidents are going to answer for something ethical? God, it's so funny. That's a good joke. Who's next?
All right, the next one. Well, this is from our friend Kevin Clark. Kevin Clark has a podcast. It's a good one. He had Adam Schefter, the insider, on as a guest. And he asked the question to Schefter, what is the oddest place you've ever broken a news story? And here's what Schefter said.
I can remember being in Denver one time, and I was how do I say this? I had just spent time with this woman for the first time.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Sure.
And got a text that Dale Carter was being suspended. I think it was for 8 games for substance abuse. And so as I continue to lay there, confirm it, and got the job done, Kevin. In every which way.
Do you believe it? I believe that something like this happened, that he broke news around a time when he was, getting intimate with some woman. But I'm going to need a second source on getting the job done, because I'd like to hear from her perspective. You could give me 100 guesses of who in sports media would be considered a sensual lover, and I don't know if Adam Schefter's breaking that top 100.
Yeah, first of all, I believe it, because why would you make that up?
To even have Dale Carter now be involved.
Well, the funny thing about this, one quick nitpick, I saw the headline that he did this during sex. And then I saw a follow-up today, journalism would correct to say afterwards. During, now that'd be problematic. I think if you're the partner, I think you'd have a right to complain if you guys are in the middle of something and he's texting. I mean, it's one thing to watch TV. We've all done that.
Wow. Yeah, what? I mean, talk about multitask. Whoa. But the reason why I would say I don't think that Schefter would be he would not break the top 100, I don't think, on sensual lovers in sports media, is because this guy, I think, is too focused on breaking news at all times of his life. I don't think he can even put it aside for 5 minutes to be I'm going to focus on you. I'm going to focus on this. I think he's always thinking in the back of his mind, is Dale Carter getting popped for substance abuse issues? I'm going to break the story.
So if you were looking to date an NFL insider, you would want the one who's the worst at his job. They're like, this guy hasn't broken anything in weeks.
Years.
He must be paying attention to women. Yeah. I mean, Maggie, I think if you want to power rank the sexiest insiders, I'd be down for that.
Let's go. That's Wednesday's great debate.
Yeah.
I got Glazer.
Glazer knows all those MMA moves. Very flexible.
See, I think that's the thing about these insiders, like Glazer and Schefter and Shams and Woj. I just don't think they have the skill set.
You don't think Woj is sexy?
It's about I know, how dare I? I think it's about giving the time, effort, and attention that it takes to actually make sure it was his line. He said, we both got the job done. Does he have the attention span to get the job done? Because I think he's more focused on breaking the news.
Maybe. I mean, listen, Ian Rappaport got the name Rap Sheet because of his work in the bars with the ladies. It was his rap
sheets.
Yeah. Rap in the sheets. It was originally Rap in the Sheets and eventually became Rap Sheet. I mean, that guy is a Lothario.
Again, I'm not making a judgment on who they are. I'm making a judgment on the characteristics they display. I don't think Adam Schefter has time to light a candle and put the music on and do all the stuff because he's too busy worried about his Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat. No woman cares about that in that moment.
This isn't a Netflix movie, Maggie. We're not lighting candles and doing all this stuff. What is going on here?
It also isn't an Amazon Alexa soundtrack that Bogus was listening to last month.
Yeah, that's true. But also, Maggie, not to point fingers, but you're do you stop watching Browns Raiders second half all 22 when you need to? You can put things aside.
Yeah, but I'm not a newsbreaker. I'm not a Schefter type.
But you're always watching game film. What's the difference?
I also said I listened to it on the radio. Wait, Schefter. Also, when Woj retired or whatever, remember they were talking about how they always have to answer phones at the urinal and they never get a moment's peace.
Sure.
So now all of a sudden, when it's about this, it's going to be about the woman. It's not. I just need the second source on this that Schefter got the job done.
Well, I don't believe this happened.
You don't think the whole thing happened?
It definitely happened.
It definitely happened.
No.
Yeah, get out of here. Why would that not happen?
EJ,
because
what do
it's
you
dumb.
think?
It's there's no way. Because I know there's been conflict of was it after, during. He's suggesting that it was during.
No, he said
no, he's
after.
Not.
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree.
Go back to the clip.
Well, in the clip, he definitely
He made it sound like he maybe stopped and then went back and then.
He did not.
No, he does not.
Okay.
Well, regardless, I think the point is I could see Schefter stopping midway because of a trade deadline. Yeah. I mean, listen, the guy's dedicated to his job. Maggie's right. And by the way, if I don't want
$8 million a year.
Listen, I follow the guy on social media.
He better stop.
He better stop.
Yeah,
otherwise,
you need to know if Mike McCarthy's out. Is he out?
A competitive field.
I have one follow up.
I can't wait to hear this.
I think there's a Mrs. Schefter.
Yeah.
I don't think this story is about Mrs. Schefter. So how does she feel about this story becoming public yesterday?
So I think that they got married.
Not that it's anything nefarious, just that this is a different woman in his history.
I mean, don't you have to kind of you realize when you get married that, well, it depends on your situation, but there could have been people before you.
Yeah.
Isn't it your wife's birthday today? Happy birthday, Katie.
Can our research department find out when did Dale Carter get suspended and when did he get married?
I don't believe this. Dale Carter got suspended in like 98.
No, I got it right here.
Text?
Okay.
So Dale Carter broke into the league with the Chiefs in 1992. He was in Denver. He did not play the entire 2000 season because of a violation of the league's substance abuse policy. So it was the year 2000. So it wasn't even.
When year did Schefter get married?
He's not getting texts in 2000.
I don't think so.
You know, it's funny because I'm reading John Clayton also broke this story. And we know John, may rest in peace, he got busy.
We saw the commercial.
Yeah. That commercial.
Ladies couldn't keep their hands off the ponytail.
Yeah, so here's a Clayton story. Maybe, back then, actually, Schefter was with the NFL then. He wasn't, or he was at the Denver Post. He wasn't even with,
He's still breaking news.
Wait a minute.
Right. No, I'm saying John Clayton broke it for ESPN and Schefter broke it somewhere else.
Sorry. Dale Carter, Defensive Rookie of the Year, 92.
Yeah, it was July 19th, 2000. Okay.
Yep. This is what Pro Football Reference says, that Dale Carter did not play the entire 2000 season.
You guys have to believe the Easter Bunny to believe this story.
Wow, you really think he made it up?
In 1999, he's not getting text. So that means he would have had to have been called.
Maybe
right. No, that's a great
phone.
No. You
1999, people aren't texting in 1999.
No, but you had a cell phone in 99.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm saying that he would have had to have been called. So the process of
Did he specify it was a text?
Yeah, he did. I just listened to it.
He did.
He said, I got a text that this guy got suspended. A guy who played in the 90s. Okay, so we're going to believe.
Maybe he meant a letter.
Yeah, well, so
he got a
he
fax.
So that means he would have either had to check his email, which could have been a thing.
Oh, maybe it was a BlackBerry, and it came in like what we'd call shorthand today was a text. Maybe it was an email.
I think you guys are.
EJ, why would you make this up?
Like,
was he trying to brag? Like, what?
It did go viral.
We're all talking about it. It adds to the legend of Adam Schefter. There's plenty of reasons to make this up.
So this thing I'm looking at right now says by the year 2000, text messaging was popular. Message volumes were averaging around 35 texts per person per month in the U.S.
Really?
Do you remember
in 2000.
when we were first texting and you had to go through each letter?
Yeah, like you had like a phone, right?
Alex would not know anything about this.
I do. I had a flip phone when I was in middle school.
It's also possible the text was from a number he knew was a source that said, "You got to call me ASAP." Like that could have been that could have been the message. Not Dale Carter's getting suspended. It might not have been a 6-line text like now. It might have just been like, "Hey, call me. I've got news."
This soundbite makes it sound like he put in work. He then got a message. Oh shoot, this guy got suspended. Let me put it out there real quickly so everyone knows immediately what happened. I got the job done. That's clearly not what happened. It's impossible in 1999.
I think he was lying there in the bed with the woman, and he got
with like
got
a Marlboro
notification.
in his
Probably got a call.
Post-coitus.
No, long would take to break a story in 1999.
That's totally reasonable. That is not. I mean, the guy broke 100 stories, and all
right, let's get.
He has
Schefter on the
kids.
phone.
He obviously is not.
Okay.
He has slept with women. It's not like no one's saying that Adam Schefter is a virgin. So
I'm
like,
not
why is this surprising?
I'm saying the order of operations. He made it sound like this all happened very quickly, and there's no way that happened.
Why not?
You know how long it takes to break a story in 1999?
How old were you in 1999?
8.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
my parents had cell phones.
I was in college. Perloff was working. Like you were 8. I remember how 2000
maybe he
worked.
kicked off the process of breaking the story.
Right.
He didn't say that though.
Oh, dude,
man.
I initially said I didn't believe this. I've showed you all the reasons why it's not true, and all you guys keep saying is, well, maybe he did this or maybe he did that. I'm saying what he said is not true.
So you said people weren't texting. I just showed you that people were texting. So you didn't show us how it wasn't possible.
Well,
I think
not
the crux of it is,
not everybody was texting like that.
I think also,
but he was. That's what his job was.
Wait, but EJ, I think you have a bigger issue is that you think that he made it up for clout.
Absolutely.
Right.
But it's such an odd makeup for clout.
I actually thought it makes him look like a nerd. Like that's his best story.
Yeah. Like
he's laughing, he's giggling, he's like, huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you, Kev. Well, I was back in the day with a woman.
Wow,
I'm just saying.
You have different ears.
Come on, guys, really?
Wait. I'm sorry, Bogus. You think that this was a boring place?
I hear him being like nerdy, like I was near a naked woman. Like he can't tell the story, and then like it makes like he should have had a story where it happened right after he.
Yeah, I mean, he's
like,
probably had thousands since then. I mean, right.
They're like
he's been married for a long time. Yeah, I
right.
assume.
You'd think like my phone has buzzed when I've been with my wife. Like so if mine has, I'm pretty sure that Adam Schefter's has. Like this is a run of the mill story. Like this should be the story should involve being like on a private jet somewhere or in a like. This is a run of the mill. I would assumed this has happened to all of these guys. I thought the story, when push comes to shove, is lame. Not him trying to sound cool. And he doesn't sound cool in telling the story. It's like he's telling us the first time he ever saw a naked woman story.
Literally every tweet was like, wow, look at Adam Schefter. What a boss.
He did say he got the job done. Like he was trying to. He was
I
trying
got
to
the God job done.
But,
Which also
by the way,
lame.
you misunderstood that. When a guy says got the job done, he's talking about himself. He does not care what happened.
Well, he could have been led to believe he got
Maggie's
the job
like,
done.
I don't really think. Did he like candles? And wait, what job are you talking about? This is
Typical.
we're breaking stories.
Typical.
And got the job done. I mean, come on. This is football we're talking about. This is a man's world. Like. This is not a concern.
I know. And men wonder, why do women sleep with the bartender? You know?
Why?
Someone pay attention to them.
Oh. Because they're not breaking NFL news?
Exactly.
No,
they got nowhere to be.
They can put the
nothing
shaker
to
down.
do.
I'll tell you why. They have a 2.4 blood alcohol level.
That's also not false.
And I know bartenders who I know as a fact are terrible in bed. Yeah, that's why they're bartenders. They're like, well,
breaking news on that. All right.
I mean, listen, NFL insiders are not sexy. That's just the way it is. Like, there's just nothing sexy about the job. It's the nerdiest thing that you could You walk into a bar and said, I broke the Dale Carter story. Nobody's going home with you.
I still don't know who Dale Carter is.
He was the defensive rookie of the year in 1992, Bogus.
He was really good, apparently.
If he hadn't been sidetracked with all the substance abuse.
Defensive rookie of the year. I've never heard of this guy.
Did he have like 1 million picks one year? I feel like that was a thing with Dale Carter.
How about
7 picks his rookie year?
For which team? Chiefs?
Casey.
Okay. All right. So maybe I do know who he is.
Yeah, right. He's got one of those. Like, Dale Carter. I mean, he was the best chief of all time. Human joystick. Who is that guy?
Dante Hall.
Dante Hall. That was my favorite. I forgot his name right there. Which is good. But you know, one time I was getting busy and there was a Dante Hall highlight package on SportsCenter.
Well, when you said human joystick, I didn't know what you were talking about. I knew where you were.
He's got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Damn you, Schefter. It's all your fault. 855-212. I don't know why I'm giving out the number. 4227. I don't know what you... Do you believe Schefter?
The strongest argument, EJ, is why on earth would this dude make that up? Like, if you're going to make up something for clout, have 2 women in the bed or do something.
It's not
working. It's definitely not working.
My God.
Make
You
one
guys
Barbra
are the only 2
Streisand.
guys who were taking this like, oh, he's such a nerd. Not many people are looking at it that way.
People are saying he's dedicated to the news breaking thing, not that he's dedicated to lovemaking.
No, I know that, but I'm saying it's like, wow, look at this guy. He's just...
It's the same as when Woj had to leave the phone next to the shower. Like, it's the same thing. Like, nobody's like, wow.
Not the same thing as the
I'm
shower
going to tell
thing.
you what.
It's similar.
Listen, we are on all of our amazing Infinity Sports Network affiliates. We're on Sirius XM Channel 158, and we love this as an audio product, and you get everything you can. Our chat was created for segments like this. I can't read one thing that these guys and gals have written in this chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, and there's no curses. Not one curse. But I can't read any of
Cap
these.
will ban you in a second and never let you come back.
Cap's part of the... He's chiming in.
Is anyone
He's leading the chorus.
Is anyone
here.
in the chat in that exact situation where they just finished something?
Got the job done, I think.
Yeah,
is
they
the word.
sitting there. Did they get the job done?
I can't even read one of these. I keep scrolling. I'm like, nope. Nope. No. You're going to have to find those for yourself. youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet.
By the way, Billy Wolf, yours is my favorite.
I mean, that's the MVP comment. Billy, congratulations. Can't read it.
Definitely can't.
Big
But
ups
you
to the
win.
affiliates. I would never do that to you guys. You can trust us. Billy, that's funny. 855-212-4227. Bogues, can you hang around for 1 second? We're 40 after. He's out.
I'm busy.
Breaking story?
Getting busy.
I want to fact check more texting stats in 1999.
I've already been away for too long, so I got to go back.
Anyway, okay. We're back in a minute.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, this portion of the show is sponsored by the new 2025 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid that has class-leading advanced safety features like the available blind spot view monitor to make your ride more enjoyable. We have one segment left, and thank God, because I don't know if we'll ever get back on track after the last segment, talking about Adam Schefter's news-breaking techniques.
Yeah, part of the conversation was about the techniques. It was also about the location.
Oh, don't.
Sorry, he said it, not us. We just were asking, do you believe that Adam Schefter broke news once?
Yeah, and now it's just become a contest in the chat who could have the dirtier pun.
That's youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet.
And
if
EJ,
you're curious.
Just the thought that Adam Schefter's doing this for clout, like what kind of person be like, hey, guess what I did? I broke a story about Dale Carter being suspended after I got some action. Like, that's your clout? That's your big story?
EJ's right. People are looking at him like he's a letharg, like he's like, man, maybe there's a different side of Adam Schefter that we never knew.
You guys are making perfect sense. I'm saying what the internet does not make sense. So I'm saying what is happening is not what you guys think. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if you want to, whatever. There's like better stories of being clout. I mean, I don't know. Even I have better stories than that, and I don't have any good stories.
And this story is 2 decades old. It hasn't been topped in 2 decades. Yeah. This is still his story.
I mean, what do you guys think he's breaking news? Jumping out of an airplane?
I don't know.
What do you want? Basically, the urinal and post-coitus is probably as good as you're getting here.
But you said it. He makes millions of dollars. He could have been like backstage at a Taylor Swift show.
Yeah.
Like there definitely could have been different stories.
He could be getting busy in a Burger King bathroom. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Doing the Humpty Hump, Humpty dance.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Who sang
Schefty.
that song? Humpty Hump, right?
Digital Underground.
Yeah,
Tupac is a dancer, right?
All right, let's get to the headlines.
Oh, they are proudly sponsored by PXG Golf, and right on
I'm sure
cue,
they're delighted.
Staying long and straight on the golf course is easier than ever with PXG clubs. Take your game to a whole new level. Save $10 per club at pxg.com/football and use code Schefter.
Why does everything
football?
Why does everything sound dirty now? Everything.
I blame Schefter.
I blame Billy Wolf in the chat.
Let's quickly go back to the 76ers. 5 straight losses, a 2-12 start thanks to last night's 117-111 loss in Memphis. Joel Embiid did post 35 points and 11 boards, but then apparently called the person who leaked the story about Tyrese Maxey calling out Embiid for being chronically late a piece of bleep. Embiid did say he knows he needs to be on time more often.
Wait, did he call the person out by name?
No, he said whoever leaked it is a piece of bleep.
Oh, just hold me back. Like,
Kinda.
whoever did that.
Yes.
He doesn't know who did it.
He wasn't calling out the reporter.
No. I
Sorry,
mean,
that was a story from 2 weeks ago when he pushed a reporter.
yeah, no. This is, first of all, 2 nights ago, he said, when he was first asked about the story, he said, we had a meeting, I don't know, and they're like, okay, never mind. And then last night, he said, whoever did it sucks. But he acknowledged that he does have an issue with being on time.
That's crazy. Like an NBA superstar has trouble getting to meetings on time?
Never happened before.
No, I'm serious. Like in the NFL, like if you're not like everyone's on Coughlin time, even like the craziest players get to meetings. I don't know. It's weird.
One other Sixers note, Paul George hyperextended his left knee last night. Head coach Nick Nurse thought postgame that PG-13 avoided structural damage. George missed the first 5 games of this season with the same injury to the same knee. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns combining for 70 points as the Knicks kept the Suns struggling 138-122. Phoenix has lost 5 straight and 6 of 7. The Warriors thumped the Hawks 120-97, and Giannis hung 41 on the Bulls in Milwaukee's 122-106 win. The Bucks have taken 4 of their last 5. It's career win number 1,217 for Gino Auriemma, 85-41 over FDU. The UConn coach now has more wins than anyone in NCAA history, breaking his tie with retired Stanford coach Tara Vanderveer. Here's Gino on the possibility of no one getting close to his mark.
The world's changed so much, the game's changing. The role of coaches is changing.
I don't know that coaches are going to want to be spending 40 years doing the same thing in the environment that they're doing it in now, or they're asked to do it in now.
As Maggie has mentioned this morning, top-ranked South Carolina winning its program record 43rd straight game last night, 77-45 over Clemson. Those Geno UConn teams have had like a 70-something game, a 90-something game, and a 111-game win streak.
Haven't won since 2016, though.
That
Hot
is
seat
true.
for Geno. Just kidding. I'm joking, obviously.
Last thing from me, Braves lefty Chris Sale, Tigers lefty Tarek Skubal, the Cy Young Award winners, MVPs handed out today. Obviously, very likely Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Guys,
Who came in second in Cy Young voting?
It doesn't matter. They
Former Met.
Yeah, he didn't win, though.
Zach Wheeler.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
You know, I wonder where Juan Soto is today. Or actually, people are flying to him. He's not flying all over the country,
Correct.
right? So they're all going to Scott
Well, he
Boris's
went to LA,
office.
didn't he?
That's where Boris's office.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're coming to meet him in L.A.
Yeah.
So the Yankees went to New York.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to L.A.
Yep.
So, yeah, to me, I feel like he'll give up the geography and at least consider the West Coast. Because I feel like players, once they get into this mix, like they're not as loyal to the geography.
Well, there was an idea that he wanted to be on the East Coast because it's an easier flight to the DR.
Yeah.
But here's my question. Why does it seem like it's a foregone conclusion? Did he ever say this outright? It's going to be the team that gives me the most money, or we just assume that because he's a Boris client?
We're assuming that.
Okay. Because if it's just going to be whoever's going to offer the most money, and I'm assuming non-deferred, right? Because he could have taken the Washington Nationals deal, and that had all this deferred money in it.
Right.
And he didn't like that. So why do people think this is going to stretch on and on and on and on?
They don't. Everybody I keep reading thinks it's going to get done by the beginning of December, like by the winter meetings. Yeah, there is no, at least at the moment, there is no expectation from the Jeff Passons of the world that this is going to be like Bryce Harper when he went into spring training.
Okay.
This is supposed to get done on the quicker side.
I also thought it was interesting where he met with Hal Steinbrenner, the New York Yankees, who he just played for the entire season. Apparently had a lot of questions about player development and what they do to develop players. Like, that was never a conversation when you played for the team. You went to spring training with the team. You've been with the team. You've got no idea about the inner workings of the team. Like, why?
I read the report about his meeting with Hal Steinbrenner. That sounded like the Yankees are as close to off the list. Like, Hal Steinbrenner was like, yeah, the meeting was okay, I guess. Like, geez Louise, like, that's not happening, right? Like,
I think that all we're doing is killing time until they pay the most money for him.
I feel like the MLB free agency is just killing time and making up headlines till the Dodgers decide if they want him or not.
No,
that's how it always works.
Maybe this is my rationalization of the Mets not getting him, but all along I think this is just about the Yankees finding out what they have to actually pay to keep him with the most money.
Too. And I think they probably have to figure out how long is this going to go where Boris keeps using the Mets to drive the price up, because there's no ending to the Mets owner's money. And there is a number, I think, for Hal Steinbrenner. I do think the Yankees have a stop number. I don't know if the Mets do.
I think we need a contest here. I think we need to do, maybe tomorrow, put names, like we gotta put our bets in where Soto ends up. Because I think the other team besides the Yankees have a good chance here.
I'll tell you that we could do the team that needs him the most, because I've got my thoughts on who needs Juan Soto. That's a different conversation.
Thank you. Finally, you're seeing it from a Phillies point of view.
It was not the Phillies.
Oh, please.
Bring him home, baby.
Home?
Bryce Harper. Yeah, he's basically Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. He's basically part of the Phillies already. They love that guy. They're all former teammates. That fence and Citizens Bank, are you kidding me? Make it happen.
I'd like to think the baseball gods will not reward Andrew Perloff in this way. Thank you, Manny. Thank you to Alex. Thank you to Bogish. Thank you to Kaplan. Manny.
You're in a 5-minute break.